On the right-hand side for Russia, who immediately launched themselves on the attack. I just feel a little bit like England after the penalty shootout win against Colombia. Neither of these nations will be fearing the prospect of a shootout as much as they might have been, given that they both have just experienced their first World Cup penalty shootout wins in the last game. It's not quite the fear and the worry that it might have been. Obviously, there's always an enormous amount of fear, but I don't think they'll be as petrified as they might be. Golovin is standing over this corner kick for Russia. Plays it in low trajectory. That was a really, really good delivery. Lovren wins a header. Modric controls in the penalty area, as Dion says, so relaxed, like he's playing with the kids in the back garden. Shuffles away, makes a bit of space, clears it up towards the halfway line. It is 1-1 here in Sochi between Russia and Croatia. We are into extra time of the World Cup quarterfinals.
You know what? They looked a little bit organised then, Croatia. Subasic shouted over to the manager, where's my players on the 6-yard line? They weren't sure whether to go zonal, they weren't sure whether to go man for man, and in the end they got away with that one. They weren't organised and ready for that corner.
So ball cleared away by Rakitic. Clumsy clearance though, straight up into the air, comes back to him from Mario Fernandes. He launches it up the field, but Rebic isn't able to control. And Ignashevich, the Russian central defender, will collect on the edge of his penalty area, and Russia will build from deep. Cheryshev scored in the first half, put Russia in front. Brilliant goal to the top corner. Kramaric equalised with a well-timed header. And the second half of the 90 was Smolov just challenging on the edge of the penalty area. That goes down, but the referee doesn't give it a second glance. He waves play on. But the biggest thing that happened in the second half of the 90 was Croatia hitting the inside of the post. How Perisic didn't score, I've no idea.
You know what? Just a couple of millimetres, and that would have just bounced off the post and gone in. So yes, they've rode their luck, but it's been even Stevens in regards to chances. But they do look tired now. You don't want to run when you've not got the ball and you are this tired. You think, please win the ball back, somebody.
Brozovic, a bit dangerous there into the centre circle. Vida have Smolov bearing down on him, but Vida manages to get it away. All he's doing is returning possession to Russia, and Akinfeev, the goalkeeper, away to our left. So quick reminder of the teams. Akinfeev in goal for Russia, Mario Fernandes right back, Kudryashev is the left back, Ignashevich and Kuchepov the two central defenders. In midfield they've got Gazinski, Zobnin and Kuzev, and then Irokhin supporting Golovin, and Smolov is the main striker up front. Russia pump it long. Header one just in front of the penalty area by Brozovic. Russia have it with Mario Fernandes on the right-hand side, but he's run it out of play. He was looking up, he was seeing what was on, and the ball skipped away from him for a Croatia throw.
Yeah, slightly ahead of himself there. Fernandes wanted to get the cross in, but he was thinking, right, who am I going to cross it to? But he took his mind off the job in hand. I'm not sure.
Another Croatia player down. It's Vrsaljko, the right back. Lovren is just hunched over him, and they're discussing the severity of this injury. It looks like Lovren is saying to him, just come on, it's pain, it's in your head, don't worry about it. He's saying, come on, let's get on. You don't want the physio to come on, because then you're going to have to leave the pitch. But Vrsaljko looks a bit concerned. Oh, he's going to have to go. He's rubbing his knee. Lovren is saying, no, hang on, are you sure? Are you sure? Lovren's waving no. Vrsaljko is saying, I'm off. Vrsaljko's twirling his arms. I think they're going to have to make a change.
Yes, he's just touching below his kneecap there, which is possibly the patella, maybe the patella tendon just below the kneecap. He's walking okay, but he's made the sign, that rolling sign with both of his hands. Now Luka Modric has gone over. Lovren's still trying to convince him to stay on.
Yes, it's unusual this, isn't it? Lovren, and then he turns away with a shrug, and it's almost like he feels, you know, Vrsaljko, are you sure you're putting your body on the line here? Let's see, what did happen to Vrsaljko? He controlled the ball, there was no one around him, and he just grimaced as he passed it. Don't know.
Didn't see anything that at all. I think he's going to try and...
They've not made the change yet. He's gone off the field and he's been worked on by the physios. For the moment, Croatia are playing with 10. Remember that they can make another change in extra time.
Couldn't see anything there at all, and it's a strange one because he didn't go down. Felt a bit of pain but didn't go down. 5
minutes played in extra time. Russia 1, Croatia 1 here in Sochi. Still warm temperatures even this late at night. It's gone 11 p.m. Dion's dinner reservation is in big jeopardy now as the ball is cleared by Lovren. Down the right-hand side, one back for the Russians. Kuchepov has it. Sends it to the near side. Mario Fernandes, the Brazilian-born right back. Still plenty of hard running from his teammates, getting up into attacking positions. Khrushchev made a great run there. Ball is played towards him. He's challenged in the air by Pivaric. Croatia have it on the halfway line. This is Mandzukic. Rolls it back to Lovren. Still they're playing with 10. At the moment it's Brozovic who's dropped back into that right back position to cover, but that means they're a man down in the midfield. This is an opportunity for Russia. They're still working on Vrsaljko down there.
I actually think Mandzukic is struggling as well. He just passed that ball off there and he's limping as well. He's in the centre of the park, Mandzukic, and he's hobbling about.
It's got the feeling of survival of the fittest. Who's going to be able to keep 11 fit players on the pitch?
Yeah, exactly that. You know, he does a lot of hard work outside the box, away from where you'd expect him to be, into centre forward positions. But he's at the moment right now he's playing like a holding midfield player.
Yeah. Well, he does a lot of running for Juventus, doesn't he? Mandzukic. They're going to make a change. Vrsaljko is done, so this will be their last change. If anyone else falls by the wayside, they won't be able to replace them. And it's the former Man City and Tottenham player Vedran Chorluka. Now plays here in Russia with Lokomotiv Moscow. I saw him down the pitch before kick-off posing for photos with some of the Russia players that he knows well. He's been here 6-7 years now. He comes on, and that's it. They cannot make any more changes. So with a goalkeeper who's been nursing a hamstring problem, with Mandzukic limping away down there, they've now made the 4. That will be that. And we've only played 6 minutes of extra time.
I think that's what Lovren was possibly saying as well. Can you last for us? Can you give us another few minutes? And obviously not. Chorluka's come on. Gone straight in at centre-half.
Here is Luka Modric. Takes the ball, swivels away into space. Certainly has the pace of Kudryashov here. Gets right to the edge of the penalty area. Ignashevich, who you have to say has been a man-mountain of the back. He's the man who scored the own goal, the unfortunate backheel volley into his own net against Spain. He's been brilliant tonight. Modric gives the ball away.
No. Is that Modric? It can't be Modric giving the ball away.
A Modric impersonator has come on the pitch, number 10 shirt, and it's clearly not the real one because he's given the ball away. Akinfeev clears, right-footed. Down the right-hand side, Mario Fernandez jumps in the air and beats Pivaric. And then Chorluka has just come on, gets his first touch to nod it back to the goalkeeper, Subasic. What'll he be feeling? Experienced player, we know all about it for the Premier League. Still only 32, so he's not exactly an old man yet. But in March, he came back from a year out with an Achilles tendon injury, so he's missed a lot of football over the last year, 18 months or so. Free kick to Croatia on the halfway line, which Mario Fernandez picks up the ball and runs away with it. And Rakitic didn't like that, and Brozovic didn't like that, but these are all the little sportsman-like tricks that come in late to the game. We saw the England players today completely, they had no idea they were the ones who were going on. Oh, me? I had just run over the far side of the pitch because I needed to stretch my legs. I wanted to check out I'm going off. Absolutely hilarious.
No, they don't do that. Walk a little bit further and waste a bit more time. No.
8.5 minutes played in extra time, the first half of extra time here in Sochi, where the Russian crowd, I think they don't know what to make of this now. They've gone through the ringer of emotions, the elation at going 1-0 up, the brilliant goal from Cheryshev in the first half, the sobering equaliser from Kramaric. Here's a cross by Pivaric into the penalty area, headed away by Gazinski. It's going to come back out to Pivaric on the left-hand side, and the Dynamo Kiev player rolls it back into Chorluka. Now Lovren. And at the moment, Vida's gone to right back, and Lovren's been joined by Chorluka in the middle. Oh, that's a terrible ball by Lovren, intercepted by Golovin. Chance for Russia. Here's Smolov, recovery by Lovren, but did he foul him? Smolov goes down in the box. The referee, I think, is okay with it. He's waving his arms. He says no penalty. That was an enormous chance for Russia.
Wow, how did Lovren get back so quickly? That's a really good recovery run. Wow, Smolov actually had a great chance there. Great strength from Lovren, but did he get away with it? We haven't seen a replay yet. Did he push him over?
Vida to Modric, who skips away from Zobnin, gives it back out to Vida. Here's the cross, and right from the arms of his own goalkeeper, Kuchipov kicks it out for a corner. There was a little bit of uncertainty at the back from Russia. We've not said that very often, but Kuchipov didn't want to take any chances. It's a corner to Croatia on the right-hand side.
Yeah, watching the replay, great defending from Lovren. More defending for Russia.
Almost into the 100th minute. Modric with a corner, headed down and in! Vida! The defender Vida scores for Croatia. Modric with the corner. Vida's header, which bounced on the way through. I don't think there was a fullback on the post. And Croatia lead for the first time in this quarter-final with 5 minutes remaining in the first half of extra time. It's Russia 1, Croatia 2. As things stand, England will play Croatia in the semi.
Another corner, bang on the money, right on the penalty spot. There he was. I couldn't believe it found the head. There were so many players in the box, but it hit one head only. It hit Vida's head in the right place at the right time, unmarked. Yeah, I'm watching the replay. It's a good header. Gets himself free. Smolov is actually in front of the keeper. May have blocked the keeper's view, but no, it's a clean header. What an important goal that's going to turn out to be.
So much happened in the blink of an eye in that penalty area. It was like a Renaissance painting. Wherever you looked, there was something happen. Ignashevich was barreled out of the way cleverly by Mandzukic. He took care of him. Vida got the header down. It was like the eye of a needle, the way it threaded between two Russians. Chorluka nearly got a touch of it in front of the goalkeeper, but somehow it eluded all of them. It crept inside the post. It puts Croatia in front.
Wow. Again, the quality of the ball coming in, the commitment of the Croatians with players getting numbers forward. There must have been 5 or even 6 black shirts in the box there, making sure that they got one of their heads on it. They did. They're in the lead now. Can they hold on to it though? That's the one.
Golovin has been taken off. Dzagoyev has been brought on, the CSKA Moscow player. That's the 4th and final change for Russia, who've got to go for it now. 2-1 down, behind for the first time in this quarter-final. Chorluka heads the ball out of the Croatia penalty area, comes back to him from Rakitic, and now Pivaric will clear away left-footed up towards the halfway line. There was a certain element of fortune and good luck to the equaliser of Croatia, but, you know, the quality of the delivery from Modric, and you've got to say, for Vida, stretching there to accurately put it into the bottom corner, it's a fine goal.
You know what, just the last 5 or 6 minutes, Modric has had the ball, and Modric has just made a few darting runs. He seems like he's got a little bit more energy than the rest of the team, because he doesn't do too much squeezing and closing down, so he's still got energy, and he's making the difference just by breaking the lines and feeding people in. And the quality of his pass is always right, the weight, that's the difference so far.
There's been a yellow card for the man who scored the goal that has Croatia in front. Vida has been booked for a foul on Zobnin. The resultant free kick is 15 yards, maybe 20 yards inside the Russia half. Croatia brought all 11 men back behind the ball. Russia have sent everyone except the veteran Ignashevich forward. Here it is, played in, headed on, flicked on, but Irokin couldn't get a firm enough touch, and it goes out for a corner. Corner to Russia, no time to waste as they sprint to get into position to take it.
Yeah, we call that tin hats. Get your tin hats on, because the opponents are going to throw everything at you. Protect yourself.
Corner's going to be taken by Dzagoyev, the man who's just come on. Here it is, right-footed, out-swinging header up into the air by Kuchapov, and they tried to resurrect it. It's going to be another corner. Corner again to Russia. I have to say they've responded well to going behind. They're throwing the kitchen sink at it now.
Yes, they are. They've got 2 players only, Croatia, on the 6-yard line. All the rest are going man for man. That means Russia have got 2 players over.
Love this. Absolutely love this. Cherchishov, the coach, is waving his arms in the air. He wants more noise from the crowd. Here's the corner, delivered in. Oh, it's flicked onto the front post, but over those at the back post. Irokin again, who's been close to a lot of headers, big tall midfielder, but it skimmed off the top of his head, and it just wouldn't fall. Zobnin was at the back post, it was too high for him.
Yeah, 3 good corners, 3 good lots of defending from Croatia as well. I just believe that, you know what, with quality like that, it's hard to defend against sometimes. I can just actually see here Lovren's coming back to
take the goal kick. Because Subasic is worried about that hamstring. We've got 30 seconds remaining. Oh, Lovren slips as he takes that goal kick, but he still gets it away. 30 seconds remaining in the first half of extra time here at Sochi. They still have a quarter of an hour to play, Russia, to try and get back into it, but can they get the equaliser? Or are Croatia going through to face England on Wednesday? And Gareth Southgate will be sitting, and I hope he's got a brandy or something in his hand, and he's watching Croatia having to put so many miles on the clock, and he sees the Croatian goalkeeper hobbling around, unable to take goal kicks, and he says, come on Russia, make them work for it.
You know what, I believe you're right, I really do. He'll be thinking, right, we've got nothing massively to fear here, we've got a lot in our locker, they might have a lot in their locker, but they'll be shattered after this game.
Modric working hard deep in the midfield, up towards Brozovic. He's challenged by Zobnin. Ball goes out of play on the far side. Throw into Croatia, who'll try to run down the clock as much as they can now. Stanislav Chercheshov is still bellowing at everyone. He's shouting at the crowd, he's shouting at his backroom staff, he's shouting at the fourth official.
He's shouting at himself.
He's shouting at himself. Takes a huge swig out of a bottle of water. Goalkeeper in his playing days, Stanislav Chercheshov, the man entrusted to guide Russia through their own World Cup on home soil. Nobody expected they were going to get this far, but is this where the juggernaut comes to a halt, or have they got one last trick up their sleeves, the Russians? Mario Fernandes, the right back for Russia, up towards Kuzhishev. He's challenged roughly on the halfway line, but fair challenge by Pivaric as the referee. Modric peels away looking for space on the right hand side, collects the possession. Irokin tries to close him down. Lovren's now in a midfield role. He gives it out to the right hand side to Kovacic of Real Madrid. He's beaten to the ball. Russia will come again. There's a roar every time Russia get possession. We are into stoppage time, deep into stoppage time at the end of this first half of extra time. There's a glance at the watch by the referee. There's a few more seconds to play. Possession with Gazinski in the centre circle, and now Russia come over the halfway line on the right. They need to get on with it. There can only be seconds remaining here in this first half. Ball is flicked forward. That's a foul. Foul on Djagoyev. Late free kick for Russia in this first half of extra time. One last chance here.
Wow, this is it for them. This is it. Just get it into the danger area. Listen to that roar. Everybody's getting on their feet. Listen to these Russian fans.
After this, it'll be half-time in extra time. Here comes the delivery. Djagoyev sends it in. Goalkeeper comes and spills, and he hasn't got it. And the referee blows the whistle. Foul on the goalkeeper. Subasic hits the deck and stays there, and Croatia breathe a sigh of relief, a collective sigh of relief.
Yeah, he was always going to get that. There's a hand in there. There is a hand in. He had it with two hands, and there was a big sort of elbow there that hits him on the arm. He loses the ball, but he stayed down. Waste as much time as possible.
So there we go, half-time in extra time. It's Croatia who hold the advantage. Russia 1, Croatia 2, but not over yet.
Could be a fast turnaround, so let's get straight to Wimbledon and find out what's been happening there with Ian Carter.
Yes, and the 15th seed Nick Kyrgios of Australia has gone out. He has been beaten 6-1, 7-6, 6-4 by the former US Open finalist Kei Nishikori of Japan. Superb performance from the Japanese player. Kyrgios, we had a little bit of everything from him, and his Wimbledon is at an end, as it is for Kyle Edmund as well, beaten by Novak Djokovic. The other big shock, or the big shock in the men's competition today, Alexander Zverev has gone out. The top seed in the women, Simona Halep, is also out, but Jamie Murray has won in both the men's and the mixed doubles, 2 matches in very quick succession this evening.
Ian Carter, thank you very much. Ekaterina Malavichko, a Russian sports journalist, is with us now. Ekaterina, what did you make of Russia in this extra time period? Do you think that Croatia deserved to be ahead?
I think yes, because they were attacking all the time and they were closer to this, and everyone said you will not have so many chances playing against Croatia, you should use them, and well, sorry guys, you didn't score, then that was deserved. I feel a little bit like it was fair, yes. Now nobody will accuse us that we won unfair and that we had the goalkeeper injured, that the referee helped, he didn't give penalty, nothing helped, but we were very lucky about that shot which kicked back to the field. Then everyone has his reserve of luck. I think I still believe in the team. If we score, we'll have penalties. I think everyone in Sochi, Moscow still believes it. And believe me, Russians, when they're upset, they're much more scary than when they're happy. It's better to have happy Russians around.
Well, the Russians may well be upset. There's a woman in the crowd actually wiping tears from her eyes, not looking too scary, but I absolutely take what you mean, Ekaterina. Russia trailing Croatia by 2-1 in Sochi at the moment. They have 15 minutes left to save their World Cup as the host nations. To take you through the last 15 minutes of the game, Dion Dublin and Conor McNamara.
Here we go then. It's do or die for Russia. One last throw at the dice on home soil to see if they can make the semis. As things stand, they're going out, and it would be Croatia to play England. They've got an enormous 15 minutes. In terms of modern Russian football, since they broke away the old Soviet Union, this is the biggest game in the footballing history of Russia as a country in its own right. And do they have it in them to produce an equaliser, and who knows, maybe even a penalty shootout? The one goal between them, Vida's goal, it was a soft one to concede from a Russian point of view, but it could be enough to put Croatia into the semis.
Yeah, they just have to give everything now. This is it, 15 minutes now. What have you got? Don't get picked off by Croatia, though. Like I've said before, if you are going to squeeze, like I'm just watching here, squeezing numbers.
Here is Kovacic trying to control it on the edge of the Russia penalty area, but it veers away from him and out for a throw into Russia right full-back position. Quicker the teams again. Akinfeev is the Russian goalkeeper. Mario Fernandez, Ignashevich, Kuchepov and Kudryashov is the left-back. In midfield, Zobnin, Kujayev, Gazinski, Irokin, Zagoyev and Smolev is how they line up in attack. And for Croatia, much change in their defence. Subasic is the goalkeeper. Chorluka's come in to play centre-back with Lovren. Vida, who scored the goal that is Croatia in front, he's moved to right-back. Pivaric, the substitute, came on as the left-back. And then Rakitic, Modric, Brozovic in the midfield. Kovacic with Rebic and Mandzukic up front. And Mandzukic and Rakitic, by the way, both on yellow cards. If they were to pick up a booking in this second half of extra time, they would miss the semi-final against England. Two very important players.
Yeah, and I think two players that have to stay on, including this man as well.
Wow. Modric has made a tackle. Ball skidded miles away. He ran after it. He got there just out of the corner flag. He plays in the penalty area, and then he's absolutely disgusted with Rebic that he didn't sprint onto it to get to it. What an engine Luka Modric has.
He's just non-stop, and they all look to him when he's got the ball. They look to him to create something. When he's not creating, he's working back. Kudryashov
is out of position here. Zobnin in to try and cover for him, and he's elbowed out of the way by Rebic. And that's a free kick to Russia, which they take quickly. And Russia are going to take everything quickly now. Trailing 2-1, second half of extra time. Croatia will try and slow it down. Cherchesov down below as the Russia coach. He's been instructed to get back into his technical area by the fourth official from Zambia. Cherchesov losing the run of himself there, nearly wandering onto the pitch. Mario Fernandez cuts in off the right wing. It's been a World Cup in which almost every team gets a late chance. I mean, even today Sweden had a couple of late chances, didn't they? Everyone always gets a chance. Will Russia get the chance? And more importantly, will they take it? As Kudryashov crosses from the left-hand side. Decent header by Pivaric. He was under pressure there. He gets it a full 10 yards outside the penalty area. Mandzukic holds it up, plays a lovely 1-2 with Rakitic. Now that oozed class. And then Mandzukic is tripped by Gazinski, and that'll be a yellow card to Gazinski. And he is one of those who was already carrying a yellow. So if Russia are to turn this around, if they're to go through, Yuri Gazinski would be suspended from the semi-final against England.
He's just one of the backbone, Mandzukic. He's just worked and worked. He's not playing in his favourite position. He wants to be a centre forward. He wants to score goals. He's playing out of position today, and he's just worked so hard. Modric is the catalyst. Rakitic is playing wherever he's told to play. He's been playing most of the game in front of his back too, but they're not moaning. They're getting on with it, and they're getting the job done at the moment.
So the ball is played forward for Croatia. Battling after it was Kovacic, and he's gone in strong in the air there. And I think it's a clash of heads. Certainly both players are down injured. Maybe his hip into the head of the Russian left-back, Kudryashov, who's down. He's got his hands on his forehead. Oh, it's his shoulder. The shoulder of Kovacic goes right into the forehead of Kudryashov, and he's down and he's going to need some treatment. Oh, I tell you what, he bounced back up again. He says, don't worry about me, I made of tough stuff. Wow.
Well done. Well, that's what we like to see. Listen, can you clip that up for us and send it to Neymar? Would you please?
The exact opposite. The noise continues from the Russian supporters. Is there to be a last hurrah? Or is this where the tale ends tonight? Here in Sochi, on the south coast, away from Moscow, against a Croatia team who got to the semis in 1998, lost to the eventual winners France, so they go back to the semi-finals. Modric swings in the free kick, headed away by Kuchepov. Back into the mix by Rakitic. It's a clever ball to the edge of the penalty area. Mandzukic steadies himself, plays it in, but it's straight at the goalkeeper, and Akinfeev holds on to it. Played 5 minutes in the second half of extra time.
That was sorry, Conor. That was Lovren there trying to curl one in the top corner, and within about 4 or 5 seconds, he's made it back to the right side centre half position. That's how hard Croatia are working now.
Akinfeev sends it straight down the middle. Smolov tries to battle for it, easily beaten in the air though by Chorluka. Kudryashov. Down the left channel now comes Zobnin. He made a good run, tried to help it onto Djagoyev. It was clipped by a defender on the way through, though. It hit Brozovic. It's a corner to Russia on the left-hand side. They still trail 2-1.
Yes, here come the big lads. Here comes Kutepov and Ignashevich into the box. This will be an in-swinger. It's got to be a good one.
The noise here is deafening. I hope this atmosphere is coming across on your radios as Djagoyev prepares to take the corner. Here it is, in swinging, goalkeeper comes, punches, chance, Kujayev, saved by the goalkeeper. Subasic managed to get his angles right. He's way off his goal line. It was a good shot back in by Kujayev, but saved by Subasic.
What a strike. But the keeper just happened to be in the right place at the right time, shuffles across his box, and it hits him right in the midriff. Really good keeping that, holding on to the ball as well. No spillage there.
Yeah, he did well to hold it. There was a venom on the shot. Kujayev would hardly have wanted to hit that any sweeter. Inch or two either side. It might well have been in for an equaliser. Story of the game. Russia had the lead first. Croatia equalised 1-1. Then Croatia, through Vida, took the lead in the first half of extra time. 2-1 the Croatians lead.
And they've still got the ball in the corner here. Oh, wow.
Ivaric holding on to it. Mario Fernandez battling. Last touch comes off him. Throw into Croatia. They take their time. They frustrate the Russians.
They're doing well. They're doing that well, Croatia. Making sure they keep hold of the ball. They're not rushing it. Playing short passes. Pretending to go long with a long throw, but they're keeping it short. Making Russia work.
Short throw by Prevaric to Mandzukic, who loses it immediately. Akinfeev pumps it long. Lovren wins the header in central defence for Croatia. Modric flicks it on for himself, but then he can't get on to collect. Russia fighting like dogs down there in the middle of the midfield, not giving up anything. They get possession. Zobnin to the near side. Kudryashov, good ball. Oh, really good ball. Smolov into the penalty area, left-hand side. Sells it to Vida, clips it. Goalkeeper fingertips it away, and so importantly, Irokin was lurking at the back post. Fingertipped by Subasic, and that was enough to get it away.
Yeah, I can tell you right now that hamstring is fine, because you cannot leap like that if you've got a dodgy hamstring. So Subasic is okay.
112 minutes, almost 113 minutes on the clock. Time running out for Russia. Yellow card has been shown. Prevaric, I think, as the ball was played forward, he's handled it intentionally. He is so lucky. He's half a metre outside the penalty area. That could have been handball penalty.
We've just the replay, and that ball sort of hits him just on his where your bicep is and your elbow just meet, and then he starts looking at the referee and tapping his shoulder. You can't get away with it, because we can see what you're doing, young man. This is a great area now for Russia to put an. This is right on the corner of the 18-yard line on the box, down the right-hand side. I think it's going to be a right footer. And he's stepping back with this like he's going to shoot.
He does. He looks like he's going to take the leather off the ball. Alan Djagoyev, who's taken all the set pieces since coming on as a substitute. Russian supporters all over the stadium on their feet. Nobody sitting down. Can't take your eye off this. 6 minutes of extra time to go. Russia, as things stand, going out of the World Cup. But can they have a hurrah here? Can they drag themselves back into it? Djagoyev waits. Busy penalty area. Short run up. He thinks it's too short. He goes back. Here he comes. He's got to get this right. Djagoyev clips it in. Headed by Mario Fernandez! 2-2! The Russian bench spill onto the pitch. Russia refused to crumble. They refused to bow out. Mario Fernandes has never scored an international goal before. He'll never score a more important one than that. Wow, 2-2!
Oh my word, what a ball in, what a header by Fernandes. That is what you call guts. They didn't take a step back, they took a step forward, they believed, and look what that belief's done for them. Oh my word. But I've got to say one thing, Mr. Cherchesov hasn't taken his hands out of his pocket once. He's just moping along that technical area, cool as you like, as if to say, I knew we could do it.
Wow! Croatia, what do they do now? Pegged back to 2-2, 5 minutes of extra time remaining. Russia refused to bow down. What a celebration as well. Mario Fernandes, retro style, he set off hurtling over the advertising boards, nearly jumping into the crowd. 2-2, the Russian fans, they're going to stay on their feet now. Nobody's getting back on their seats.
This is it. The volume has gone to the crescendo level. And I think they'll keep it that way as well, Connor, because everybody's stood up now. Flags and all the scarves back above their head. Look at these lot now. Look at the Russian players. They are sprinting, they are squeezing. They're doing everything.
What a World Cup. You never know when it's done. Games are never over. There can so often be a late twist in the tail. Russia were heading out as host nation of the quarterfinals, and a right back born in Brazil has headed it to make it 2-2, his first ever international goal. And who knows, heaven knows what's going to happen now.
Oh dear, I need to take a breath. That's just an amazing finish to a game. Is it finished though? Here come Croatia again. Have we seen all the goals?
Luka Modric, Gareth Southgate takes another sip of his brandy. Go on, work yourselves into the ground. Pick up a few niggles. No chance of Croatia being able to take the foot off the gas late on here. 2-2. Modric turns, shoots way outside the penalty area. Always rising, and it flies into the crowd behind the goal away to our right-hand side. It's Russia 2, Croatia 2. Incredible.
Just unbelievable stuff. You've got to say fair play to Russia. You really have. They've been organised. Croatia have been the better footballing side, but Russia just don't know when they are beaten. And at this moment in time, they're not beaten. They're still in this game just through sheer determination. And listen to us. We are Russia. We're not taking a step back.
Russia, who've already knocked out Spain. They've now got Croatia in their sights. 2.5 minutes of extra time remaining. Is it going to go to penalties again? Akinfeev, the hero against Spain. Will he get the chance to be the hero again? Subasic, the hero against Denmark. Look at the coach again. Cherchesov is barreling his hands up and down in the air, and the crowd respond. Of course they do. It really is. It's a manic atmosphere. Here we are right by the Black Sea in Sochi. So many Russians who've travelled from all over this land. I can't believe these are local people who live in Sochi. They've travelled from all over to be here. Zobnin in the midfield. The clock ticks on. 2 minutes now remaining. Ignashevich midway inside the Russia half. I don't think either of them are giving up. They're not going to settle for penalties. They feel it can be won. Russia attack down the left. Irokin controls. He's managed to drag Lovren out of position. He needs some support here. Kudryashov, good run to get there. Great ball back to Irokin. Now to the edge of the penalty area. Zobnin shoots. Saved by Subasic. It was on target. It was low. The goalkeeper did well.
Wow, what a strike from Zobnin. He was 22 yards out. He's thinking, listen, if you're not going to close me down, I'm going to have a strike at this. Subasic was there yet again. Wow. Loving this game.
We're seeing some close-up images on our screen. Russian supporters. There's a young man, his eyeballs nearly popped out of his head there as the shot came in and was saved by the Croatia goalkeeper. 2-2. This is 5 Live for the BBC. We are also across Africa on BBC World Service tonight. What a game we brought you. Another 4 goals in this crazy World Cup. We know the lineup for 3 of the semi-finalists, but we still don't know if it's Russia or Croatia. Croatia, who thought they were there. But back to 2-2. Can Croatia get the lead again? Modric plays it forward. Backheeled up into the air by Kovacic. But backheeled out of play on the far side. Off a deflection from a Russian. Throw into Croatia. They remain on the attack. There are 30 seconds of extra time to go. Is somebody going to be a David Platt and prevent this from going to penalties?
You know what? This has got to go to penalties. No team deserves to lose now. Surely not on this extra time. They have given everything.
Dion Dublin's dinner reservation is in disarray, which is quite good alliteration, which I hadn't planned. Here is Zobnin, up into the centre circle. Is there a last chance for Russia? Here they go, played into the penalty area by Kaczynski, but headed away by Chorluka. They've not fully cleared it. Russian players skirmishing around the edge of the D, and Kovacic will break away. 1 minute being added on for additional time at the end of this extra time. And Croatia have possession, and Marcelo Brozovic, he's got running in his legs, flicks it towards the edge of the penalty area. Rebic back towards Brozovic, who just couldn't stretch and get there, and Akinfeev was out to sit. Mandzukic is done, he's out, he's on the ground, he's nothing left to give. Russia plough on. Both teams going for it late in the game. Clumsy challenge by Zobnin on Lovren, and the referee blows the final whistle. We will has he? Hang on, has he? He's blown a big long whistle. Is it the final one? I'm not sure. It's not. It's just a big long whistle to tell them get on with it. Yes. Mandzukic still on the ground. Croatia playing effectively with 10 men. Will this affect his ability to take a penalty? And perhaps more significantly, should Croatia go through, is Mandzukic injured because he's been struggling for all of extra time?
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of both. Probably got a bit of a niggle, but he wants this game finished.
So many subplots here with England awaiting in the semi-final. What a World Cup it's been, and we're going to get another penalty shootout because Sandro Ricci, the referee from Brazil, blows the whistle. I mean, you've got to take your hat off to Russia, Dion. They look down and out. They somehow mustered the goal from the right back, and they were right back in it.
Yeah, listen, you know, you've got to tip your hat to them. You know, the quality is all Croatian. But the way they just stayed and went toe-to-toe with Croatia, every time they got a set piece, it went into the danger area. The goal that got them back into it, what a header, what a ball. 2-2 penalties.
I don't know, Kelly, I don't know how long I'm going to live in my life, but I'm so upset because all future World Cups are going to be terrible compared to this. We're always going to say, yeah, it's not as good as 2018 though, is it? What a World Cup, what a game, and it ain't over yet.
Katerina Milivojevic is sitting next to me in the studio with both thumbs up as you said that about this World Cup. It's just every single game seems to have extraordinary drama in it.
You know, we are in Russia. We have drama here. We have ballet, we have theater, we have Chekhov, Dostoevsky, Tolstoy. We are the country of drama. So you will have drama in every game. I'm happy we gave such a good game. And, you know, my colleagues just sent me the message that would be the most, they were very upset when we lost. And they said, like, this is the most painful loss we can see since we lost to Belgium in 2002. And that game we lost to Ukraine in qualifying tournament. That was awful. The awful memory for everyone. This one would be very painful because this team is the best I have seen in my life. This is the weakest one because there was the time we had lots of guys playing in Europe and they never could get anything like this in the World Cup, in the European Cups. These guys, they don't play anywhere. They play in Russia. They are the weakest. They are not maybe even the best in Russia. It's just the choice of Cherchesov, and still you never can blame them. They have lack of will. They fight, they struggle, they play the game we like. Nobody was proud of the game against Spain. Believe me, in Russia we are not proud of that. And then we played the way we played today. And now it's fair because now it's just lottery. Both teams had the chance, both teams used the chance, both teams lost the chance. Now we have lottery. Now will be more fair, but I will not say we'll be less upset if we lose.
Well, that's the downside to Fernandez equalising so late on in extra time, is that your nerves and the nerves of Russia have to stand another penalty shootout?
Oh, thanks to Mario. Anyway, this is the best guy who got Russian citizenship, I think, for our selection, because we naturalized lots of guys. This one is the best. Thanks, Brazil. You didn't invite him anymore to national team, and he can play for us because he's one of the best players on this World Cup. Thanks to him. But now, guys, really, you have no conscience, no nerves. What to do now? Just cross fingers.
That's the thing. I mean, you say that penalties are a lottery, and mostly that's true. I just wonder, Dion, if what we saw with England through this competition and with the work that maybe Gareth Southgate and his team have put into penalties, that they're trying to take that element of unpredictability out of them. They're trying to just drill it into the players that this is just another skill that they have to execute. Does it come down to how much preparation Russia and Croatia have put into their penalty taking?
Yeah, to a certain degree, Kelly, yeah, preparation can help. Practicing penalties can help. Repetition can help. But you can't recreate what is in this stadium right now, which is a bunch of supporters that are going absolutely mental to win this game. It's bouncing in here. My seat in the commentary position is bouncing. The whole stand is bouncing. All you have to do now as a player is remember that you can strike a ball where you want to strike it. Don't change your mind. Get the ball in your hand. Do what you do normally and smash that ball as hard as you possibly can towards goal.
Dion, one of the story, or one of the stories that everybody keeps telling who's ever taken a penalty is that walk from the halfway line to the penalty spot. That's the one that you don't think about, the one where the player has the chance either to compose themselves or to go to pieces.
Yeah, you know what? I've been fortunate enough to do that at the old Wembley semi-final of the FA Cup. I took that long walk from the centre circle, took a penalty. Fortunately, I scored mine, but my mind was made up before I even got the ball in my hand. I knew what I was going to do. I knew how I was going to strike the ball. I didn't know where it was going to go, Kelly, to be honest with you. But
well, you mean you didn't make your mind up and then make sure that you executed it without changing your... I mean, you didn't take your own advice, is what I'm saying, Dion.
What I'm trying to say is, Kelly, and listen, I don't care whoever takes a penalty. If you hit the ball as hard as you possibly can towards a target, 99% of the time you've got no idea where it's going to go. That's a fact.
Wow. With that in mind, we're heading to penalties in this match between Russia and Croatia. 1-1 after 90 minutes, 2-2 after 120 in Sochi. They're stepping up to take the first penalties of this penalty shootout. Will the hosts progress to take on England in the semi-final, or will it be Croatia on Wednesday? Dion Dublin and Conor McNamara, it's all yours.
They are being put through the ringer again. Both these teams went to penalties in the last 16, and the first man up for Russia is Fedor Smolov. He has made the long, lonely walk from the centre circle to the edge of the penalty area, and there is one very important thing missing, Dion Dublin. We've got the globe watching, we've got a goalkeeper and a striker, we don't have a football.
Yes, unfortunately that does play a bit of a big part in the penalty shootout, and the referee has he's made a ball up here. Here we go. Here we go.
We've got that very important requirement. Smolov kisses the ball, places it gently, takes 7 or 8 steps backwards. Subasic is in, messing with the net. The goalkeeper who needed a lot of treatment between the end of 90 minutes and extra time on a hamstring problem, but he's bouncing up and down now like a spring chicken. Here he comes, Smolov, first penalty of the shootout. Oh, it's saved! It's saved! He tried to dink it straight down the middle, and it's saved by Subasic. Smolov misses.
Why would you try to take... I don't get that one bit. I'm watching the replay from behind Smolov. Now, when you're trying to dink the ball in the back of the net with no pace at all, you put it down the middle. He doesn't.
Dink to the side.
He tries to dink it to the side, gets it all wrong. And you know what? When you miss them, they look terrible. And that looked terrible.
So immediately, Russia on the back foot as Marcelo Brozovic steps forward for Croatia. 3 times Subasic saved penalties in the last 16. He's already saved one here. Brozovic, right-footed, scores to the top corner. That's how you take a penalty. Advantage Croatia. They lead 1-0 in the penalty shootout.
Yeah, Brozovic knew exactly what he was going to do. He knew where he was going to put it. Opened up the foot there. Puts it to the keeper's left, his right. Little bit of pace, lots of direction. Keeper had no chance. That's how you do it.
Next up for Russia, with so much pressure on him now, Alan Zagoyev. It was he who floated in the free kick late in extra time to find the head of Mario Fernandes for the equaliser 2-2 that has led us to this shootout. Zagoyev has taken a long run-up. The goalkeeper is bouncing all over the place. On the goal line, Zagoyev comes and scores, puts the keeper the wrong way. Goalkeeper goes to his right, ball nestles into the other bottom corner. Relief for Zagoyev. It's 1-1, but Russia have taken a kick extra.
Yeah, Zagoyev there. Just, you know what, when you take a side-footed penalty, you've got to put it as close to the post as you possibly can. Give the keeper no chance. Zagoyev there, look, just winding his arms up like a windmill, as if to say to the fans, come on, give us a bit more support, we're nearly there.
So Kovacic, Mateo Kovacic of Real Madrid, number 8 on his back, settles the ball on the spot, up against Akinfeev. Here he comes, right foot, it's saved! Akinfeev to his left hand side, pushes it around the post. They've both taken 2 penalties, they've both missed 1. It is even Steven in Sochi in the penalty shootout.
Akinfeev, what a save! The ball's just sneaking in the corner and he tips it round the post. He gets it absolutely right, guesses right, gets the push round the corner right. 2 good saves so far.
So Akinfeev has got Smolov out of jail. It's all level. That first miss doesn't matter anymore. We're back to where we started. Mario Fernandes, the man whose header, his first ever international goal, made it 2-2. Here comes his penalty. It's wide! He's put it wide!
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Russia have taken 3 penalties. They have only scored 1.
Oh, Fernandes, you can't take a penalty like that. He's all long. He just didn't look comfortable at all. He's tried to strike the ball with his standing foot in the air, and if you do that, you do lose a lot of control. If you get it right, it looks great. If you get it wrong, it looks exactly like that. And now Croatia have their main man stepping up to the penalty spot.
Luka Modric, who has scored a penalty, who has also missed a penalty at this World Cup. And he very slowly, very deliberately dribbles the ball up to the spot, places it, stamps on the ground where he's going to be anchoring his left foot, and then walks away. Akinfeev stands motionless. Here comes Modric, right-footed, saved! Oh, but in off the post, that's remarkable! It's saved onto the post, I think even onto the crossbar,
yes.
And in!
That is
fractions.
Unbelievable, what a save, down to his right. He actually pushed it onto the post, he gets a good hand on it. He pushes it onto the post, it looks like it's going to go out, hits the bar, but it hits the underside of the bar and goes in the far side of the goal.
2-1, with 2 penalties to go, unless it goes into sudden death. It's a time when you need an old campaigner, an old cool head. Sergei Ignashevich steps forward. Russia have only scored 1 out of 3 so far. This time the goalkeeper doesn't move. Ignashevich puts the keeper the wrong way. No messing about. 2-2, but Russia have taken 1 more.
Yeah, that's what you call a penalty with the eyes. He looked to put it one way and then he changes his mind, changes his body language, and he puts it to the opposite side of the goal. Good penalty. Confident penalty from the old stager.
Up steps Vida. Vida, who scored in the regular game. At the time it put Croatia 2-1 in front. He now comes up to take this penalty. Croatia, who have scored 2 out of 3 so far. Ignashevich pounces. Here comes the delivery, puts the keeper the wrong way. Vida scores, and they're close. They're very, very close. I think some of the Croatia players thought that was it and started to run forward.
Yes, they did.
It's not over yet.
No, they didn't.
But it's 1 kick away potentially.
They were all in a line with their arms over each other's shoulders, and they burst that line. They've started to run out the centre circle, and then they thought, oh, no, we need to wait for this penalty first.
So Russia need to score This is their 5th penalty. They've only scored 2 of them. Croatia have already scored 3, so this will be it. If it doesn't go in, Kushayev puts the keeper the wrong way into the bottom left. It ain't over yet for the Russians.
Kushayev, that as cool as you like, waited one of those penalties which I think's possibly the hardest kind of penalty. You look, you wait, the keeper makes a move, you put the ball the opposite side. Kushayev, what a penalty.
But if Croatia score this one, they win and they go through to play England in the semi-final on Wednesday, and they've got a big name player stepping forward, Ivan Rakitic of Barcelona, 15 international goals, but he missed a penalty in the quarter-final of Euro 2008 in a penalty shootout. Will that be in the back of his mind now? Rakitic stands motionless, hands down by his side. This to put them through, and he does! He puts the keeper the wrong way. Croatia celebrate. They go to the semi-finals to play England. Russia, who gave it everything, are out, and this stadium in Sochi is absolutely stunned. The Russian fans cannot believe it. Croatia have been put through the ringer. They have put a lot of extra miles on the clock tonight. We will find out in due course if that is a benefit to Gareth Southgate. But all the way through to the penalty shootout, and Ivan Rakitic buries a few demons of Euro 2008. He scores in the shootout this time, and Croatia have won in Sochi.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anybody really deserved to lose tonight. They both really did put their bodies on the line. The quality of Croatia was just that little bit better, but the quality doesn't matter when it comes to penalty shootouts. It's all about that little bit of luck and having a keeper that's really, really in form. Croatia came out on top. I do feel for the Russians, I really do.
I don't know how far many people thought Russia were going to get in this tournament, but who saw them getting to a penalty shootout in the quarterfinals? Their players are disconsolate. So many of the supporters are just standing motionless in disbelief. Croatia have won the penalty shootout 4-3 after a dramatic comeback from the Russians to make it 2-2 in extra time, to force that penalty shootout, and even with Akinfeev, the Russian goalkeeper, pulling out a heroic save, it's not been enough this time. Russia are out of their World Cup, and we now know exactly what stands between Gareth Southgate's team and the World Cup final. It will be Croatia on Wednesday. What a game here, though.
Katerina Malevichko is alongside me in our Red Square studio, from where we can hear the crowds who are gathering to watch the game on Red Square. We've heard every agonising roar from them. Katerina, it's been such an extraordinary experience for Russia in this World Cup, from the beginning when nobody expected them to do anything to reaching the quarterfinals of this competition. But at the moment, having gone out on penalties to Croatia, how does it feel?
Awful. It feels really awful, because when you get so close, like one kick and that's it. I just feel sorry for the Smolov, who didn't have either nerve, either strength. I don't know what happened to him on this tournament at all, and on this penalty shoots exactly. I have no idea what happened. Have no idea what happened with Mario. I think he felt responsible. It's like, just we started praising him, it came back. It's in Russia. It's always like this. We from love to hate is 1 second. They canonizing Akinfeev. They already suggest to make a monument to his leg, to himself. Just a month later, after they were crucifying him for every possible mistake, then I think nobody will blame our guys for this. We should be thankful for this play, for this tournament, because they returned us. They gave us back this feeling of being proud of your team, of having this irrational belief until the last second, and they pay you back. You believe and they pay you back every game, and thanks for this, guys. No blame, no fault. It happens. It's just we hope the show will not stop after the World Cup. We will have this feeling like we can be relaxed, we can be nice, friendly, smooth. We can not just on holiday, just being like this, as if it's sunny always here, and that everything, that police might be nice, that people can show their feelings, not be afraid, and that we will have football not only once in 4 years, not only once in 2 years, that everyone will go to these excellent stadiums we made for this World Cup, and this is just the beginning. We all hope for this, that this tournament will change something in ourselves.
So you think this has been about more than football?
Sure. It was much more than football, because it was kind of discovery of ourselves, of what we can, how we can look, how we can behave, how the whole country can be, how excellent. Everyone said World Cup is it's a fiesta, it's carnival, and it was, and it has been, and we want more. And we are happy to have this. We're happy it's happened. So of course it was much more than football. It was culture. I'm happy to say some people, they started flash mob, not only about mustaches like we have about this head coach, this joke, but they started flash mob, clean after yourself, because Japanese, they gave such a good example, cleaning the stadiums, the dressing rooms, and then our people saw how you can behave, and this is excellent. Everything which brings more culture, more light to your life, this is excellent. Then this tournament we needed something like this.
And there are still 4 more games to go, the 2 semi-finals, the playoff for 3rd and 4th, and of course the final still to come here in Moscow. Do you think the Russian people have been excited by their own team enough that they will support the remaining matches?
I'm sure they will support the remaining matches. I'm sure everyone is interested to watch England against Croatia, and we love Croatia. Many people will root for them. I'm sure they will support lots of Russians will support England national team. They always do, and very difficult to choose between France and Belgium, but St. Petersburg now will have this game, and they will have the game with lots of goals, and I think it's worth to go there to watch. Then anyway, the tournament turned up good. We're happy we gave all this drama and show and all these comebacks and penalties and so many goals, that we opened this with such an astounding game, and it went so exciting until quarterfinal. It's so already history.
Drama. So much drama. Dion Dublin, inside the stadium in Sochi, we can see the Croatia players, understandably, are going over to celebrate with their family and with their supporters. Some of the tiniest Croatian children are out on the pitch in the shirts with daddy written on the back of them. From the Russian point of view, though, there's a mix. The Russian players are either sitting on the field, inconsolable, in floods of tears, similarly in the stands, but equally they're getting a hero's reception from their own supporters.
Yeah, they are. Most of them have left the field of play now, but as soon as the penalty shootout was finished, they all got together. Obviously they consoled each other. They went into the centre of the pitch, and they just did this unbelievable sort of clapping of appreciation to their fans. You could feel the connection between the fans and the players. The reception they got from the fans was outstanding. The players themselves are, as you would imagine, are distraught. Smolov's just this second left the pitch. Big Zuba's been saying thank you very much. Kutipov has been on the other side of the pitch, opposite the dugouts, on his own, just saying thank you, bowing to the fans he was. And then you've got the other side of the coin, and you've got these Croatians just having an unbelievable time, thinking to themselves, how did we get through that on penalties? It was amazing, it really was, and the atmosphere was incredible, Kelly.
And Dion, Croatia for England in the semi-final.
Yes, I'll take anybody. I'm just glad we got there, to be fair. On the quality of the game, Croatia possibly pipped Russia at the post, but it went to penalties. Anything can happen. Croatia, I don't fear Croatia. Gareth, I hope you don't too.
Dion, thank you very much. Thank you to Conor McNamara. As we come towards the end of the World Cup, it's the end for another one of our commentary pairings. So, Dion, you're going to stay with us and follow England's progress through the rest of the tournament. But, Conor, thank you so much for being part of this World Cup with us, and a very safe journey home to you. It's been
brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Loved every moment. Thank you.
Well, we've loved every moment of listening to you. Thanks so much for your time in Croatia. Ekaterina Malevichko, thank you very much to you for joining us to give us the Russian perspective on everything that's been happening. But it is Croatia who are through to the semi-finals of the World Cup, where they will face England on Wednesday at 7. Full commentary here on 5 Live Sport of that. Up next, it's Charlie Charlton.
Thanks, Kelly. So coming up after 10, you heard it there. The hosts, Russia, are out. This is your chance to be heard above the choruses of 3 lines. Go wild. Put your sprinklers on. Let it all out. Where did you watch it? How are you feeling about it now? All you need to do is join Trevor Nelson, Dave Besant, and a stream of people who now boast about knowing the 2 Harrys.
This is your World Cup station, Russia 2018. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
It's 10 o'clock on 5 Live. I'm Charlie Charlton.
The main news on 5 Live: for the first time since 1990, England are through to a World Cup semi-final.
And all eyes will be focusing towards Wednesday's semi-final against Croatia in Moscow.
This is BBC 5 Live.
With the BBC News on 5 Live, here's Claire Freeman.
A police officer is in hospital because of a possible exposure to the nerve agent Novichok. The officer, believed to be with the Wiltshire Force, is being treated at Salisbury District Hospital, not far from Amesbury, where a couple fell ill last Saturday. They're still critically ill. As you've been hearing, England are through to the World Cup semi-finals for the first time in 28 years. They beat a lacklustre Sweden in Samara. The first goal came from Harry Maguire in the 30th minute.
We felt like we could dominate the ball today. We controlled the play, a bit sloppy towards the end of the second half, where it was a bit too open for our liking, 2-0 up. But no, we knew what we'd worked on and what would hurt him today, and we knew set plays was a big thing. And obviously the little box cross as well, what Jesse put in for Delhi, we worked on that in training, so credit to the staff and the players to executing it.
Well, these England fans in Samara are delighted.
Fantastic!
Amazing!
Come on, England!
Gareth Southgate has made the difference.
Great manager, an English manager.
Told them how to play, and they're doing it.
We've not done it for so long, have we? So this is just real good. We've no prima donnas. We've nobody wanting to be the main star. They're working together as a team. They've done us proud.
We're just excited. We're not going to get carried away, but nobody will want to play England.
Well, England will now meet Croatia in the semi-final on Wednesday night after they beat Russia on penalties. Theresa May is refusing to rule out preferential treatment for EU citizens coming to the UK after Brexit. Under her plan for the future, agreed by the Cabinet yesterday, unlimited immigration from the Union will end. The Prime Minister will now have to sell the deal to Tory backbenchers.
We're leaving so that we can ensure that we bring an end to free movement, that we bring an end to the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice, that we're in control of our money, our borders and our laws into the future. This is a deal that delivers on Brexit, but it does so in a way that ensures that we can build that bright future for Britain.
North Korea has called the US attitude to the latest talks in Pyongyang regrettable. It says the American Secretary of State put unilateral pressure on the country to abandon its nuclear weapons. Mike Pompeo insisted progress had been made during 2 days of discussions. A member of the American military has been killed and 2 others injured in an apparent insider attack in southern Afghanistan. An investigation is underway. A passenger in a tractor has died in a crash in County Down. It came off a road in Drumbo last night. And more than 1 million people have been in London for the annual Pride Parade. 30,000 marched through the centre of the capital to celebrate LGBT diversity. The Mayor of London is Sadiq Khan.
Today's about celebrating the progress we've made, but also being vigilant towards hate crime, vigilant towards the discrimination the LGBT plus community faces in London, around the country, but also around the world. There are people around the world who are being persecuted because of who they are, and it's really important we stand in solidarity with them.
And with that very important sport update, here's James Burford.
Thank you very much. Croatia then have been confirmed as England's opponents in the last 4 of the World Cup. They beat hosts Russia on penalties, and it means we've now got a completed semi-final lineup. France against Belgium on Tuesday, Croatia against England on Wednesday from the Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow, all covered here on 5 Live. There are no British players left in either of the Wimbledon singles draws. It's after Kyle Edmund fell to a 4-set defeat against the 3-time champion Novak Djokovic. Meanwhile, world number 1 Simona Halep is out. She lost to Taiwan's Sei Su Wei, which means there is only one player now from the women's top 10 still in the tournament. That is 7th seed Karolina Pliskova. Mercedes driver Lewis Hamilton will start tomorrow's British Grand Prix on pole. He has the chance to become the race's most successful driver if he wins. Chris Froome's defence of the Tour de France is off to a rocky start. He crashed out on the first stage but recovered and finished 61 seconds off the pace. In Super League, Catalan's Dragons have gone level on points with 6th-placed Wakefield Trinity. It's after beating them 35-18. And Wasps beat Loughborough for the 2nd consecutive year to take the Netball Super League title thanks to a 55-51 victory.
This is BBC 5 Live on digital, smart speaker, smartphone and tablet.
Well, the weather overnight staying warm with clear spells for most. The odd mist and fog patch. Sunday will be dry, very warm and very sunny for much of the UK.
5 Live Breakfast.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Happy World Cup Friday. We are in the city of Samara.
What's your nibble? I know you were saying that dried fish is the nibble of choice where you are.
The other thing that they do serve here is these sticks of fried bread soaked in garlic.
That's nice.
With a kind
Sounds
of
good, yeah.
mustard mayonnaise.
Oh,
it is
good.
absolutely delicious.
That's right
I know
on my culinary street. That's
exactly.
Got a tweet from Scott Hastings. We're asking where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing.
Sorry, it's just all about the football for me this weekend. And who would have ever thought I'd say that?
Rugby.
No.
5 Live Breakfast. Back Monday morning from 6. First for news and the best live sport. This is BBC 5 Live.
It's like a dream. It did happen. It did happen. Where were you? We want to know. Get in touch with us. Text 85058. Call us on 0808 5909 693 or on social media. Boy, you've been busy. At BBC 5 Live. I'm Charlie Chelton. I'm here with you until 1, soaking up the atmosphere with some fantastic people. All the experts, of course, will be here. Former players, experts in goalkeeping, and those who are just passionate about the game, because we recorded it for posterity. If you watch between your fingers for the full 95 minutes, the extra bits, we've put together all the highlights. Have a listen.
And here is the countdown to kick-off in the World Cup quarter-final between Sweden and England. And off we go here in Samara. The players now break away. Here's the delivery, which is headed down and in by Maguire! And England are in front. Harry Maguire's been such a presence for England from set pieces. This time, he scored one himself. Maguire finds a pass through the middle to Kane. Now Lingard through to Sterling. Sterling's onside. Sterling under the goalkeeper, and it's cleared away.
He's offside.
By Kraft, but in any case, the flag eventually came. Henderson now, a ball over the top for Sterling, takes it down brilliantly, goes round the goalkeeper who got a touch. Sterling in the box, still with a chance for England. Sterling on his right foot, shoots, deflected, wide. There's the half-time whistle, and England have a 1-0 lead in the quarter-final here in Samara. England are all over Sweden here. Trippier then tees up Lingard. Lingard plays it into the back post. Dele Alli heads it in. It's 2-0 to England. They're on the way to the semi-finals, and Dele Alli makes his mark on this World Cup. A rare attack. Oh, Harry Maguire is beaten too easily. Toivonen now slips it across to Berg, and then the shot by Klaassen, saved by Pickford. Another shot blocked by the diving defender. Klaassen is in there again. Jordan Henderson with a crucial block in there. Saved by Pickford, crucial block by Henderson, and it stays 2-0. Here they come. Klaassen plays it through to Guidetti. Guidetti with a cross. It's controlled and hit by Berg. And Pickford has got a touch to that to push it over the top. That's another excellent save from Jordan Pickford.
How many chances Berg missed now? Is it about 19 or something? He's just can't score a goal, can he?
And the England supporters are in party mood. can just imagine it back home as well, can't you, Chris?
Yep.
The scene in some of the pubs and bars, the sitting rooms, the bedrooms, the kitchens of England. Jansen's up there, Pontus Jansen and Granqvist. Owen Maguire does shove Granqvist in the back, and he goes down very easily, the captain, and it is a free kick this time.
It's a silly free kick to give away.
In a good position.
Yeah.
So, free kick for Sweden, with the 90 minutes almost up, and England leading by 2-0. Ashley Young has broken away. Augustinsson takes the free kick, but over the wall, over the bar, and into the fans behind Jordan Pickford's goal. And there it is. The final whistle goes. John Stones drops onto his knees and punches the air. Jesse Lingard and Marcus Rashford hug one another. Ashley Young, the oldest member of the squad, just leans forward and puts his hands on his knees. But England are there in the semi-final of the World Cup. So 1966, 1990, and now 2018 in Russia. England in the semi-final of the World Cup for only the third time. Who would have thought it?
It's coming home, it's coming home, it's coming, football's coming home.
There's the chorus. There's the emotion in John Murray's voice. It almost cracked again, but it was held together, of course. Where were you? You're getting in touch. Somebody says here, Rob and Liz, we watched the game in the most remote pub in Britain, the Old Forge. On the peninsula of Scotland, we were the only English in there, outnumbered by the Swedish, and it was quite the experience. 85058. Where were you? How are you feeling? And maybe after all the pain of years and years of struggling, this made me feel a bit odd. Trevor Nelson. After 50 years of following football, it went right.
I've got a nosebleed. It's the altitude. I can't cope. It's way too high up here. Honestly, I'm trying to come down. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. People may say we've had an easier draw, but you've still got to get the job done. And I've never seen such a calm, composed set of England players in competition before. You know, I just never felt we were going to lose today, not at any point. And that's really unbelievable to say that.
Yeah, did it feel odd for those words to be coming out of your mouth? This has been a quarter-final with England, and you've used the words calm and composed.
Yeah, a reflection of their manager. You know, it's for once, there is a way England are playing that we all understand, we all get it. You know, and you sit there with confidence. I mean, they're playing as a team to the best of their ability, I believe. I don't mean individuals. We can all pick on individuals and say, we could be doing better. But as a team, we feel really safe with this lot. You know, they've gone way beyond what we expect. Well, not way beyond, but at least around beyond what I expected. To get to the semis is just, I mean, 1990 last time, I was in bits. So this is going to be this. I don't know what to think. I really don't. I think they've just done it. They've done it already. You know, they've done it already.
They've made history. Well, from one national treasure. That's how I'm going to describe you.
Thank you.
I could have chosen so many other things. Greatest DJ, greatest producer in England, but no, national treasure. Let's go to another. Dave Besant. Talking of people who've really been through the mill with it, you were a member of England's 1990 FIFA World Cup squad. What did you make of today, Dave?
I can just only echo what Trevor's just said there. I think that, you know, the belief and the confidence that the country has got in the football team exactly reflects the manner that the manager has gone into everything, the way he's prepared his team, the confidence that they're playing with, the style of football they're playing with. It's just fantastic. I think if the worst had happened today and we had gone out, I think the welcome that I got back from the fans back here would have been similar to what we had in 1990. Now it's going to get even better.
Can you already see the bus tours? Can you already see the open bus exploding right across this country?
Well, I can see, you know, we come back from Italy in 1990 with a bronze medal. You know, the boys have now achieved that, but I feel they can go on to greater things. You know, I'm looking for a silver or a gold.
Wow. I know that you'd mentioned, Trevor, that it's about the team as a whole, and we shouldn't really pick on individual players. But I'm just about to. Jordan Pickford, what an incredible performance today! I mean, he made 3 fantastic saves. As a fan, what did you feel at those moments? I mean, he was much criticised in some parts. Do you think he's now wiped that away?
Yeah, I mean, he's not the biggest goalkeeper of the 3 that we've taken out there for a start. Dave will tell you, obviously. He's a small, but he's very agile. And it's about, I think Gareth Southgate has chosen people who've got a strong-willed, single-minded. He's got a lot of strength in his character. He had criticism, but he was brilliant. And it's really sad that the man of the match for us was our goalie, because history will state, they must have been lucky if their goalie was the man of the match. But it wasn't like that, was it? He just kept them at bay at the crucial time when they could have got a bit of momentum. But I still felt we would have won. But he has been a star, certainly. There have been a few, but he's been a star. If he can keep going with that form, then he could be our man. There are a few that I like. I like a few of them, but he at the moment, he's going to get the headlines tomorrow, definitely.
To be honest, you're spoilt for choice. This is the thing.
You are. And I would like to do a little mention, because I don't know how much you're going to speak to me, for Mr. Raheem Sterling, because he is the most pilloried footballer in the England squad. But I'm a massive fan of his movement. He keeps trying. He does not put the ball away, admittedly. He's not the best finisher, but he gets there and he keeps trying, and he epitomises the spirit in the squad.
Yeah, I'll give out the number. Text 85058. We'll talk again about Pickford in just a second, but on your comments about Sterling, because he didn't get the ball in the net today, but you couldn't criticise him for trying.
He's a nuisance.
Goodness.
He is. He must be a nightmare. You can ask Dave. He must be a nightmare to have running at you. He may not finish. He may not have the finesse at the end, but there must be a reason Gareth Southgate believes in him, because he keeps on finding space. He's always there. He doesn't finish, but he does epitomise our English spirit. The chips are down. Everybody's having a pop at him, and he's aware of it. Social media is rife with put Rashford in for Sterling every 2 minutes. But Gareth Southgate's not changing his winning team. He's not changing that. And in Gareth we believe. So everything Gareth believes in, I believe in right now. I even wore my waistcoat yesterday to a festival.
Oh my good! There's the headlines we'll have tomorrow. How did you carry it off? I saw quite a few people in the crowds today actually wearing their waistcoats, who'd also tried to do mock Gareth Southgate haircuts, which weren't actually being carried off. Yeah, I was going to mention.
But no, my daughter didn't think I carried it off very well.
It's your barber's fault.
But it was no. I mean, Dave will tell you what it's like to be in a squad and going to the World Cup. The pressure as an England player, it must be hideous. The media are lining up. I mean, the saddest thing about this World Cup is the media. We, as the media, scared so many fans from going that this is probably the least supported England team at a World Cup that I can remember.
To be out there, you mean?
Yeah, fans
for
out there. Normally we're outnumbering everybody. We're just as big as everybody. So it's even that pressure's kind of off. It feels like we're playing away all the time, and I think that's galvanised the team as well.
Let's bring Dave in on this then. The number to call, 08085 909 693 to have your say. Let's start with Pickford, because it was that third save, that fingertip save. I mean, have you been genuinely impressed by how agile he is, Dave?
I think he's grown into the tournament. I do believe it was nip and tuck at the beginning, and I feel that he probably got the nod over the other two with the fact of his distribution. He's got fantastic, confident distribution. He picks players out. He's like a sweep at the back with the confidence of him playing out the back. But he got a little bit of criticism early on, but the penalty shootout down in the world are good. You could see him in brimming. He was sticking his chest out. He's holding his head high, and I think he's growing. And the save today, you mentioned the last save, that was probably his easiest save today. The other two before that were far more difficult from a technical point of view. But he looks like now he's going to save everything. He's getting in the right positions. He's pushing off right. He was criticised by going for the Belgian goal with his wrong hand. The save he made for the corner from Colombia. When you see him push off and he went with his bottom hand, similar position to where the ball would have gone over him, but technically he got everything right for that save, and he does seem to be getting better and better, as a number of other players are, and we've just been talking about Raheem Sterling, and there was people that were doubting that he should have been in the starting lineup, but today I thought he had his best game, and as Trevor said, the unfortunate thing is he's struggling to put the ball in the back of net. He's struggling to finish all the good hard work that he's actually putting in.
Also, the point about Pickford, I was just thinking he's in control of the back line as well, isn't he? I mean, the way he's talking to the other players, his teammates, he's a kind of powerhouse back there.
Yeah, for someone who's relatively young and inexperienced, especially at international level, he's got a lot of confidence. It's one of the things as well that it's bravado as much as anything. You like I say, you stick your chest out, you're vocal, but you can see when he makes a save, he's letting everyone know, you're not going to beat me today. And like I say, the other players, I think Trippier has been fantastic. Maguire's been unbelievable. So there's players that are getting better and better as the tournament's progressing. There's only 2 more games to play.
I wonder whether confidence is the key to this. Let's bring in Michael Caulfield, who's one of the UK's leading sports psychologists and was a club psychologist at Middlesbrough when Southgate was manager there. Michael, there's a number of things that both Trevor and Dave have actually pointed to there, and it's that change in spirit, that change in confidence, either whether it's for Sterling or whether it's for Pickford, people who came up against a problem but then have overcome it and actually just leapt forward. That can't be easy, Michael.
It's not, but I think it's based on trust. The manager trusts his players, they trust him back. And when you get that, which isn't always possible in football, when you get that trust between management and players, anything becomes possible, because they know, the players, that the manager will never hang them out to look foolish, to make a mistake, and there's a special chemistry there, and it's rare, and everyone's feeding off it. And the beauty of social media, the great side of social media, is the players now know what we're thinking back home, whereas I'm sure Dave was saying Italian 90, they didn't know that because they didn't have the access to it. The players now know how much support there is for them, and they're feeding off that. It's an away game for them every time, because there's only 3,000 fans there, but the support they've got from home is remarkable.
Yeah, if we switch this round, we've talked about the home support, but initially there was a lot of doubters out there about Southgate. What's happened to them?
Well, I hope they're having humble pie tonight with custard and cream and all that goes with it, because and they would have known and played with him or against him. This is one of the very best men you'll ever come across in your life, let alone in football. And I think people took the lazy route, which was he missed a penalty kick, or he got relegated with Middlesbrough, or he's too nice, which is the most ridiculous. I mean, of all the things going around, I mean, even more ridiculous than the fun on the waistcoat, the most ridiculous accusation of all was he's too nice to succeed, which is just so silly it doesn't even warrant almost answering, because he's competitive, he's ambitious, but above all, he's kind, and he cares about his team, he cares about his staff, and above all, he's unbelievably proud to lead his country, and I know that from first-hand conversations. He is so proud to lead his country, and it's now infectious. No one can't be impressed with his leadership and the team, and for once, we actually all like them and love them, rather than just be jealous of them, which people can do about footballers because they are jealous of them.
Trevor Nelson, is there anything that you've wondered about the psychology of what's been going on in the England team that Michael might be able to answer?
Past England teams, certainly. Why hasn't it worked before,
Fear, Trevor, fear.
Yeah, pure fear.
Absolutely terrified of making a mistake and wondering what people would think of them when they got home. It was their reputation in tatters. Would they get booed? Would they get attacked by their own supporters? And I've spoken to ex-players, Trevor, England players in the past few weeks and months, and they said the pattern went as follows: get picked, get in the plane, go out to the World Cup, get eliminated, get home and get booed. That was the pattern. And Gareth knew that. He's broken that pattern down just piece by piece by piece by clever leadership. He's a leader. He's a good football manager. He knows his tactics, but he's a clever leader. And he's freed them of the past, because of that team today, I think only one was born the last time England were in a semi-final. They're not weighed down by history. We are, because we've been through it every 2 or 4 years if it's a European or a World Championship. They're not, and he hasn't allowed them to be infected by some of the nonsense going around. And the past was weighed down by fear. This lot have nothing on their minds other than the greatest adventure of their lives. This is their best gig, Trevor, they'll ever play it in their life.
Rio Ferdinand said something to Gary Lineker. And he said, I remember being in squads where I turned up and I wondered if certain players wanted to be there. He actually looked at people and he said, I didn't think they wanted to be there. They really didn't. You don't turn down your country when you get the call.
Well, I think some want. I've had conversations and research with them. They were worried about playing for England in case it affected their life. And as Gareth has said, one bad thing in your life, i.e. a missed penalty or getting eliminated, doesn't make you have a bad life. They were worried about that. And then when they turned up, they were looking around going, well, how nervous are you? Are you scared? I'm terrified. Most of it, Trevor, as you know, is subconscious. It's unsaid. He's cleared that up. I think it's verging on genius the way he's gone about it in his way, because this has not been traditional, shall we say, real sort of masculine leadership. He's gone about it with a bit of love and a bit of kindness. And to the extent that Daniel Rose could admit he suffered from depression with his injury and loss of form and some terrible tragedies at home, and he went to see him. And he went for a cup of tea with him. That didn't happen in the past. This group of players, they trust him because he trusts them and he likes them. And it's rare. And look what's happened. We're in the semi-final of a World Cup against Croatia. Yeah, it might go on.
I've got one more to ask you. Or Dave, actually. Either of you. One thing about this is a major tournament. Normally with England, when they've got a bit of momentum, we either get a player sent off, sent home. We've had our star men gone, Rooney, Beckham before. Kind of, and the feeling is they've let the country down. But Gareth Southgate, amongst a lot of provocation from some of the teams we've played, if you look at that, those two opening games, and Colombia, the discipline of the players has been quite good. Do you think he's had that calming effect on them in that way?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely, he has, because he's advised them and guided them that if they behave in a certain manner, and the word he used to me before he left was dignity. He goes, we are going to behave with dignity. And everyone I've met, my family tonight sitting at home, probably listening to this, they have absolutely rallied around because they've seen some dignity and some class. They haven't seen a pit bull snaring at them and swearing at them. They've seen some dignity and some class and some calmness. And Trevor, if you play the biggest gig in your life, the one thing you want to be is in control of your emotions.
Oh, totally.
And they're in control of their emotions.
It's not comparable, but yeah, it's not comparable, but yes, because it's
actually because you're a performer, Trevor.
Yeah, but it's on me. It's a solo thing, and it's on me, and I'm responsible for my actions. When you're part of a team representing your country, I cannot imagine the pressure. I just can't.
Well, can you imagine how good it could be if it goes well?
Oh, unbelievable! And I just hope it doesn't spoil them.
He's got them thinking how good it could be if it goes well, rather than what will happen to you if it goes badly.
That's true.
And to shift that from that mindset to what happens if it goes wrong is, hang on, what happens if it goes right?
Yeah, they've been talking that way. They've been talking that way.
Trevor, they've been talking full stop. They've been talking.
Yeah.
I think it was in 1994, could have been 98. I think it was the great centre half Des Walker was asked about how hopeful he was for the tournament, and his answer was no comment. Because they were terrified to get hung out to dry. We've now got 23 players sitting down, telling their own stories about who they are, where they've come from, what they've come through. A lot of that team have played in the Championship, League One, League Two, or non-league football. And we just think they're a bunch, sometimes, in the past, they're a bunch of overpaid superstars. They've played at Alfreton, they've played at Darlington, they've played at the real, the far-off corners of English football. They've played there and come through that system. And they're loving it because they're now imagining what might go right rather than what could go wrong.
I've only got one thing to say. Would we be in the same position if Sam Allardyce were manager? No, that was what was supposed to be the situation.
Was that Dave Vesson-Sai at that point? Was that a Dave Vesson-Sai or was that...
That was a Charlie Charlton. Ooh.
Sorry, yeah, the Charlie Charlton.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I just asked a question because the FA had Sam Allardyce as manager after making quite a few mistakes with appointments. They seemed to reluctantly go to Gareth, who wanted it on his own terms, wanted more commitment from them.
Yep.
And nobody was pulling up trees when he was announced. I remember a lot of people, experts in the media, experts in sports media, was uninspiring. He's a yes man, this sort of stuff, and didn't see what he could bring to the table.
Because they didn't go any deeper, Trevor. They just went on the easy opinion. He's a very nice fellow. He can suit the FA. He can wear the blazer of pride. They probably didn't know the person as well as some of us do, and have the privilege of knowing us as well as some of us do. So it's just, he's too nice. I mean, it's the greatest nonsense of all time. To answer your question, it would have been different under Sir Allardyce. It would have been different. But sometimes in life, as the great comedian Eric Morecambe once said, life's about timing, and the timing was right. And now we're in a semi-final of a World Cup, and we can't wait.
Michael Caulfield, thank you. Gosh, and what a diplomatic end to that as well. Thank you. Dave Besant, just before we go to the news, I really want you to come in on that. The talk of fear. Michael Caulfield was saying that's what held England back in the past. You've been there. Was there anything else that was happening at that time?
I look at what he's done to that team, and I just feel that he's instilled a club mentality. It's not just a group of lads that get together 3-4 times a year for 10 days and then go back to their clubs. From what I've heard, all the players there have got a WhatsApp group going between them. So it's not the old days where when you arrived at international duty, all the one club players sit on this table, another club player sitting. They're all integrated. They're all proper friends with each other. They play against each other, and they're texting someone else. Well done today, great result, fantastic goal, great save. So they are a unit. They're a unit through the season. And I think that's clever management to get that belief that the boys are getting in each other, that understanding they've got within themselves is, you only really get that at club level, but he's managed to do it at an international level. And the way that they're playing the football, the way that they trust each other, the way that it's not panic stations. If they have to put their foot through the ball and clear their lines and push up the pitch, we'll happily do so. But let's give ourselves options for the player on the ball, and let's pass with confidence, and that's what we're seeing.
Dave Besant, if you had one message for the team ahead of Wednesday, a kind of team talk, what would it be?
Continue the way you're playing, because you're getting better and better and stronger, and the country's totally behind you. Every footballer, everyone that's been in the dressing room is behind them.
What would you say, Trevor Nelson?
Enjoy it. That's all I'd say, enjoy it, because that's when they're playing their best, when they look like they're enjoying themselves.
Michael Caulfield?
Start again, because I think Terry Venables once said, if you finish one game, you say carry on from where you left off, start again, because the rhythm they've got going now is like one of Trevor's best gigs. It's just there. Start again, Trevor. Get them going.
Oh, this is brilliant. I love it.
Thank you very much. I think we all feel very buoyed by Michael Caulfield and his positive vibes. Thank you. One of the UK's leading sports psychologists, and knows what Gareth Southgate's thinking, it appears, which is fantastic. Dave Besant, as always, wonderful to have you on, and so great as well to see goalkeeping at the forefront of the World Cup, isn't it?
Lovely, fantastic.
Isn't it? It's just tremendous. It's going to be a real inspiration going forward. So thank you for that.
Pleasure.
And Trevor Nelson, well, yeah, go wild, Trev.
I can't wait. And thanks, Dave, by the way. Dave Besant once saved a penalty from me.
How difficult was that penalty?
It was for Frank Sinclair's. I think it was Frank Sinclair or one of the boys from the old Chelsea boys. Yeah, it's great to hear, Dave.
Wonderful.
Nice one.
Lovely to have you all on.
Cheers,
Thank you
guys.
very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy this week. Enjoy Wednesday. And dare I say, enjoy Sunday as well next week. 8 days to go till the final. Of course we can get there. Have your say. Join in. 08085 909 693 is the number to call. Your thoughts on all things England, and perhaps some of the things you just heard about the sports psychology and the game management of it all. How's it gone for you? It's just after 10:30.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is BBC 5 Live.
England have reached the semi-finals of the World Cup for the first time since 1990. They beat Sweden 2-0 in Samara. James will have more reaction in a moment with the sport. A briefing circulated among Brexiteer Conservative MPs says the Cabinet's new plan for future relations with the EU would lead to a worst of all worlds black hole Brexit. Theresa May says the plan is good for the UK and good for the EU. A Wiltshire police officer is in hospital because of concerns about possible exposure to the nerve agent Novichok. A search continues for the source of the poison after a couple fell critically ill in Amesbury a week ago. And more than 1 million people are being moved from their homes in western and central Japan because of widespread flooding and landslides caused by torrential rain. At least 50 people are known to have died. With your sport, here's James Burford.
Thank you very much. Let's get some more from the football, because if you were making plans for Wednesday evening, you might want to change them.
Lingard plays it into the back post. Dele Alli heads it in. It's 2-0 to England. They're on the way to the semi-finals. And Dele Alli makes his mark on this World Cup.
Well, England quite simply are making their mark on this World Cup. They'll face Croatia in the last four on Wednesday night at the Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow. It will be England's first World Cup semi-final for 28 years. It also means Gareth Southgate becomes only the third England manager to take charge of a World Cup last four match after Sir Alf Ramsey in 1966 and Bobby Robson back in 1990.
It's an incredible privilege to be the England manager anyway. So to be able to take the team this far, you know, knowing the people who've done it in the past, not just World Cups, but with Terry and Don with European Championship as well, people I have incredible respect for and hold in such high esteem. So I feel privileged to be in the position.
And you can head to the BBC Sport website for reaction, match highlights and analysis from what has been another stunning day at the World Cup. Elsewhere in football, Chelsea boss Antonio Conte returned to training today with speculation still ongoing regarding his future. It's understood the Italian held meetings with club officials and, unless the situation changes, will fulfil the last year of his contract. British interest in the singles at Wimbledon is over for another year at least after defeat for Kyle Edmund. He lost in 4 sets to the three-time champion Novak Djokovic, who wasn't happy with the treatment he received from some spectators.
I got time violation deservedly because I took more time, but then I thought the crowd's reaction after that was quite unnecessary. A couple of guys really pretending they were coughing and whistling while I was bouncing the ball more or less till the end of the match at that end where I received the time violations.
Rafa Nadal ensured he'll hold on to the world number one ranking after the tournament finishes, thanks to victory over Alex de Minaur in his third-round match. But the women's world number one, Simona Halep, is out. It's after defeat to Hsieh Su Wei. Cricket, and England's women swept to a record 142-run win over New Zealand in the opening match of the one-day series. England made 290 for 5 from their 50 overs before the tourists collapsed from 70 without loss to 148 all out. England captain Heather Knight admits they were also keeping one ear on events in Russia.
Well, it was pretty obvious, wasn't it? There was a few rules going around and a few messages were passed onto the pitch, obviously when Ali scored and things like that. So, it was nice to know the score, but obviously we had to concentrate a little bit on our game, and delighted we've got another England match to watch on Wednesday.
Yeah, World Cup fever really sweeping the nation, isn't it? Well, Lewis Hamilton will be on pole position for the British Grand Prix tomorrow. The world champion edged out title rival Sebastian Vettel after a thrilling battle in qualifying. We'll have the race here on 5 Live from 2 o'clock tomorrow. Britain's Chris Froome crashed during the opening stage of the Tour de France as his quest to win a record-equalling 5th title began with a scare. He did recover, though, to finish 61 seconds behind the stage winner Fernando Gaviria. Catalan's Dragons won 35-18 at Wakefield to climb to 7th in the Super League table. And Wasps won the Netball Super League final today for the second straight year. They beat Loughborough Lightning 55-51.
Lewis Hamilton seems to be going incredibly slowly. He's pulling off the circuit. Hamilton is out of the race. Lost power. Okay, stop. He's been told to stop, and he pulls off at the side of the circuit. Both Mercedes returning from the race, and this is dramatic as far as the championship is concerned.
Next, the British Grand Prix. Live race commentary, analysis and reaction from 2 on Sunday.
F1 on 5 Live.
First for news and the best live sport. This is BBC 5 Live.
We're talking England, we're talking World Cup. I'm Charlie Charlton, I'm with you until 1. If you were watching the match somewhere a little bit different, as ever, we'd love to hear from you. Mark from Hexham in Northumberland, we watched the match on a plane from Newcastle to Dubai. The whole plane erupted in cheers when we scored. It was a very different flying experience than normal. How on earth did... That is amazing. I don't quite understand the technicalities of how that happened, but I believe you. I want to. Text 85058, but call us. Great to hear your voice. 08085 909 693. I feel like we've just left a bit of a love-in. We've just had Trevor Nelson on with Dave Besant and Michael Caulfield, the sports psychologist, and it was just so positive. I feel we can just keep those lovely vibes going. Let's speak to a newly married couple. That would be the icing on the cake, wouldn't it? Because if you think you found the last few minutes of the England match stressful, spare a thought for Chris and Sophie watching the match, and then as soon as the whistle was blown, I believe you went to tie the knot, Chris.
Yeah, that's about right. We ran across the road the moment it hit about 90 minutes to get wed.
Right, OK, so the wedding day had obviously been planned for quite some time. Then you realised there was a clash. So how did you get over that? How did you negotiate logistics?
Well, I think we were probably the only people in England that really hoped that we'd actually win that game against Belgium, so we'd end up on the Friday in the harder side of the draw. But yeah, we had a lot of friends just very angry at us, to be honest. Yeah, a lot of disappointed friends.
Are you kidding?
Male friends.
Male friends. Is that your, dare I say, wife, Sophie?
It certainly is. I'll put her on.
Oh, lovely.
Hello.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much.
Does it feel different?
What, being married or the football?
Let's start with the marriage.
It doesn't feel different. It feels good. It's exciting. Like, we've been drinking a lot.
I'm actually quite staggered that you're on live radio on the day of your wedding and an England game, which thankfully we won. Are you a football fan anyway, Sophie?
Not really, but my husband is a Crystal Palace fan who has a season ticket, so I kind of have to tolerate the football aspect of our lives.
So you had to really negotiate this on your biggest day.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I do like watching big world tournaments, so it was quite exciting to watch it in the pub with everyone, especially on our wedding day, and we had our wedding photographer come and take some photos, which was really nice.
This is fabulous. I'm so impressed that you managed to do both. Also because of the timing. What would have happened if the England game went to penalties?
What would have happened if it had gone to penalties? We'd have had a lot of disappointed friends. I think we would have still made them go over the road, but we were the last ceremony of the day, so it wouldn't have been the end of the world if it had been the case. But... But yeah, no, it all worked out for the best. All good.
It all worked out. It worked out beautifully. Dare I ask, do you want to ask your husband what was his happiest moment of the day?
What was your happiest moment of the day?
The second goal.
The second goal. He said the second goal. Outrageous. As a Crystal Palace fan's wife, I have to put up with this, but anyway, it's fine.
So is this effectively your first argument as a married couple?
As a married couple, yes, this is our first argument.
Oh, I feel so honoured.
Yeah, it's our first argument. It's fine.
You know he's only joking. He really, that Dele Alli goal just didn't even figure in what happened when he put the ring on your finger today. You know that, Sophie.
Well, he did mention Crystal Palace in our vows.
You are kidding me.
Hang on, I'll let him recite what he said to you. Hang on, I'll pass you over. What did he say about Crystal Palace?
I think I was very honest. I said that there's a lot of things that I forgive Sophie for, but one of the things I'm hoping I'm going to get her over the line for is becoming a Palace fan and having the same love for the club as I do. But I live in hope, I think, for that.
What are you doing for your honeymoon? I'm assuming
we're going off to Seville for a few days, and then later in the year we're going to go to Mexico.
Oh, wow, fantastic. But Seville, I hear they have TV screens there.
Well, we are flying back on the Wednesday, and we land at 6:35. So I'm going to be watching the semi-final in a taxi on the way back.
Oh my goodness! And then Sunday?
Sunday, I've already got a pub sorted to watch it. I decided to get in there early, so I've got an area booked.
You've got an area booked?
And that won't be a problem.
Okay, and did you run any of this by your new wife?
Yes. Yeah, she knows what she signed up for.
You're a great couple.
Thank you very much.
You have the foundations of a wonderfully happy marriage. The negotiations have already begun. It's lovely. Congratulations. It really is an honour to speak to both of you. And what is your surname now? Mr. and Mrs.?
So we're keeping our own names. We're a modern couple.
Oh, you're all modern.
Yeah. We're keeping a Morrison and Arkham. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, lovely to speak to you. Chris and Sophie, congratulations. I'm sure you brought the luck for the England team, not the other way round. So fantastic news. Oh, isn't this lovely, you see? So we've got a newly married couple there. We heard from somebody yesterday who was also getting married today. A few, actually. And a number of birthday parties where there are a number of clashes happening at the same time. But if you can tell us where you were, what the atmosphere was like, it would be great to hear from you. 08085 909 693. So... let's have a little bit more, because we had our reporter Mark Hutchings, who was actually in the stadium in Samara. We want to soak up some of the atmosphere. He spoke to the very excited England fans. After all, it cost them a fortune. They travelled miles to get there, and they travelled miles simply to embarrass their children immediately after the match.
That's it, England are in the semi-final of the World Cup. Steve is next to me. Can you believe it?
Fantastic performance, just unbelievable. I think the England fans here today were probably maybe outnumbered in bodies, but not outnumbered in voice. It was incredible.
And it was a pretty comprehensive win, wasn't it?
I think a bit of nerves at the start, but once we got into it, it looked like we were never going to lose.
And you're holding your little boy, Harry, a lot. Harry's only 6. What do you think, Harry? Only good? Better than that, isn't it?
Amazing.
Well, give us a cheer for England. Amazing.
A bit overwhelmed as a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
What an experience.
I mean, a lot of these fans have waited a long time for this, and Harry's seen it in his first England game.
I know, it's unbelievable. I never thought I'd see anything like this, never mind Harry. And maybe when we were on that 15-hour train journey last night, we didn't think this was going to happen, but hey-oh, it's great. Different class, the best feeling ever, isn't it?
And what about now? What next?
Moscow's next, isn't it? Bring on, come on, England.
Wow, amazing. Bad game, amazing.
Well, England were pretty dominant, though, weren't they?
Yes, 100%. It's coming home.
Is it coming home? Do you think so?
Yes.
How old are you?
Can you call his head mistress on Monday?
Are you meant to be in school on Monday?
Yeah.
And what are you going to do instead? Are you going home or are you staying here?
We're going to go to the beach in tomorrow.
You're staying? Are you going to be in the semi-final? You're going to go to the semi-final?
Yes. We're going to win it.
This is so amazing. It's the first time in my life I've been able to support England so happily, and I'm so happy for my son that it's going to be different for them.
Right, and how old are you?
Good, it's amazing.
How old are you?
Oh, 14.
14, yeah.
And he's come here with a broken leg. We've had wheelchairs everywhere. It's been amazing.
You're wearing a plaster cast. What's going on? Well, how did this happen? How did it happen?
Ripped a ligament playing football.
Playing football?
Yeah.
Just before he came out?
Yeah.
So do you think you shouldn't bring him or what?
No, we've been so well looked after everywhere. We've had wheelchairs in the airport, at the games. Everything has been amazing. We're so happy. Now we're going to go to celebrate and go to Moscow.
And you're both going to Moscow?
Yes.
With your broken leg?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And what about semi and final?
We don't have finals tickets yet. We've got semis.
Right. Well, maybe if you try and get some sympathy with that leg of yours, you never know. Have a word with Gareth Southgate. He could probably do something, couldn't he?
That would be nice.
I mean, all the pain you've been through as an England fan, and seeing your son enjoy this sort of amazing success. What do you think? How do you sum it up?
Oh, it's just amazing, because for them, I think they didn't understand our pain all my life, and my husband and our other boys at home. We got 4 boys. Everyone's sitting at home just praying. We're so happy.
You've had more than 30 years of hurt. He's just had a bit of hurt with his broken leg.
Yeah.
That's more price to pay.
Yeah.
Enjoy it all.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Mark Hutchings in Samara doing things only Mark Hutchings can do there. Absolutely incredible to hear the scenes. And what you've been going through, Matt in Crowborough, watched the Kent County show covered in cider, lager, wine. What a day, he says. And then there are some other pictures being painted of you enjoying the game. Jerry texted 5 Live to say, I watched the match in the pavilion at the Naturist Foundation, along with 100 fellow naturists. There's a scene. Call us 08085 909 693. Let's speak to Charlie Webster, TV presenter, broadcaster and proud Sheffield lass. So I think this would have been quite an incredible game for you, Charlie. 6 members, I believe, of the England squad coming from South Yorkshire.
It's coming home, it's coming home, it's coming. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I actually said it during the match. I'm sorry if it's a little bit echoey. I'm kind of backstage somewhere at the moment. And yeah, I was actually saying it during the match. I was like, did you know they're from Sheffield? Like, Barty's from Sheffield, Maguire's from Sheffield, they're all from South Yorkshire. And I was like, oh my God, our back four is all from South Yorkshire. I actually found it
is incredible,
really
isn't it?
People. Yeah.
No, I remember, when we had the success at the Olympics, and I remember just going through it was like, everybody's from Yorkshire. We've done it again. I mean, particularly for you, as a Blades fan, you've got Kyle Walker and Maguire's goal. How did that feel for you to have Harry Maguire hit that?
You know what I really liked about it, kind of taking it more to a serious note, was the last couple of games, I don't know what you think and everybody out there, he's been open in that position every single time, unmarked, in the box, ready to fire that header in. And I was like, come on, actually get it this time, because I think he's been off target every time. And then I was like, oh my God, he's done it. So it was amazing. And then I was actually just come off stage doing a thing with Sylvester Stallone, who's actually just walked past me.
Wait a second. You were on stage doing a thing with Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah, and he just walked past me. And then we were in rehearsal watching the England game, because I was desperate to watch it. And then I just ran around the stage when Maguire scored, screaming.
And what did Sly think of this?
He was like, soccer? No, he wasn't. Yeah, I mean, I think he likes football, actually.
I bet he does now.
Yeah, he does now. But I'm not entirely sure he was that impressed, to be honest.
I love the way we're getting a picture of the different scenes that have been happening right across the country. But you genuinely are the first person to say, well, actually, I watched the game with Sylvester Stallone.
Yes, come on.
You've done it.
Maybe he brought us luck.
Oh, yeah. He brings a lot of things to the party, does Sly.
What do you do that look thing? Because, I was, really needed the toilet as well. I don't know anybody else does this. And I'm like, I can't go to the toilet, because if I go to the toilet, then the other team's going to score. And I get into this stupid thing where, I don't know, I can't sit in that position, because then if
all
I
the
move
superstitions.
Oh, yeah, I'm really bad.
So you're going to make having Sly Stallone next to you your superstition for Wednesday. Have you broken the news to him that actually he's going to have to sit next to you on Wednesday and Sunday, potentially?
That's a great point. You know what, if you lose now, it's all his fault.
Yeah, just blame him. A little word about the team as well, because they're from predominantly, you've got loads there from Yorkshire, but they are so young. I mean, I think it's 17 of the squad weren't even born back in 1990, and there's so much talk of what went on then. Do you think they have the maturity to keep going, or is actually that's not what's needed?
I think are you still there? Sorry.
Yeah,
still cut off, yeah. Sorry, the radio and stood in the corridor. Yeah, I think they do have the maturity, and I've been really, really impressed with Pickford, because I think there was a couple of times he got a bit of criticism. Same with Sterling. I think everybody was criticising him again last night. But they've grown. Every time we've watched them, they have grown, and especially Pickford. And we've seen him grow in confidence and mature. But I also agree with you that I think one of the reasons why we're doing so well is because there was no expectation from them. And there was this oh, yeah, well, it's England, they're going to do what they always do to us, break their heart, and blah, 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 and all these egos, and normally the conversation. But the conversation has been so different. But I also think the key is Gareth Southgate, because if you watch the way I know Gareth, and he's such a nice person, and I actually genuinely think that matters. If you look at the way he treats the players, I mean, football's changed now, sports changed, and we're so aware of the difference psychology makes. And if you watch the way Southgate treats the players, when we had the penalty shootout against Colombia, I think that's also the difference, because they don't have to, I feel like he carries it for them. So I don't think they necessarily have to be of age.
That is a very interesting point, actually, to say that he carries it for them, because the image I have in my head of Gareth Southgate on the different ways he handles them is actually a physical thing. You know, you can see that they all bind together and hug, and there's a sense of camaraderie, which is very different with past teams, it seems. We had a sports psychologist on before, and he was saying the very thing you've said, which was about this positive attitude, and I think taking that responsibility. I'm just going to bring Andy and Bristol in on this. You're through to 5 Live, Andy. Can you tell us about your thoughts on the game, or actually have you got the energy to do so after what you've been through?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good at the moment. Yeah, just saying, I'm running across Sweden right now, and in the Trans-Sweden race.
How many miles have you run?
So far, about 190 in just over 2 days.
190 miles? My goodness.
Yeah, it's 340 altogether.
Why are you doing this?
Cut-off. Well, I do a lot of adults running and endurance running, and also I was invited to do this race, and it just happens it went through my brother's town, because my brother married a Swede, and he lives in Kristinehamn, which is right in the middle of the course. And then as I was watching the draw, I couldn't believe it. I worked out this: if they lost to Belgium and if they beat Colombia, that would be I should be arriving in his town just about the time of the match. And sure enough, I've been able to watch it with him and his Swedish wife.
This is wonderful. Honestly, I feel there's a real coming together. Not only a coming together on the pitch, we've already had Trevor Nelson having a bit of a love-in with Dave Bessant, and now you over in Sweden with your brother and his wife, and oh, it's just lovely. Andy, how far have you got to go on this Trans-Sweden race?
Well, I got back out on the road after the match, and I'm going to do 30 miles tonight. Should get in about 4 in the morning.
Bless you.
Grab a few hours sleep, and there'll be 125 miles left after that.
My goodness.
Go on, Andy.
I love the way Charlie, as a much fitter person than I am, is insistent that go on, whereas I'm just in shock. I just feel slightly traumatised listening to what you've been through, Andy. I'm very, very proud to have talked to you. So thank you. Yeah, good on there. And I hope it all goes well. Where will you be for the match on Wednesday?
Well, if I finish, hopefully I should finish Monday sometime, end of Monday. So I'm at the moment in 3rd place. I'm pushing on the top 2.
Wow.
So hopefully I'll be either there or, I don't know, I'll be in Sweden still though. I've got a flight back on Thursday.
Good stuff.
The race had to finish Thursday morning. So.
Right, so you'll be back home in time for the final on Sunday when England will pick up the cup.
I'll be there for the final, yeah.
Andy, thank you very much. 08085 909 693 and Charlie Webster. Make sure you have a word to Sly Stallone for us, yeah?
I will do.
I'm going
to make sure he stays on Wednesday so that he can bring us lots of luck. And you know, you were talking, I just wanted to say a final thing. You know, you're talking about kind of some of the players being from Sheffield and South Yorkshire. And I think what I love about this squad is there's such an incredible inspiration for young people to show that you can come up through the ranks and then you can be on that stage and be those heroes for England. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I just love it. Love it. I don't want it to end.
It won't end. Well, it will. But then we can just live the dream again and again. Just watch it on replays. I'm just slightly inspired by something you said. Let's have a word with somebody from Sheffield, actually, because we spoke a little bit earlier to someone where there'd been big cheers, a few tears as well, when Harry Maguire headed in England's first goal. It was Harry's family. We had a word with his cousin George.
There's no words really to describe the feeling. We're all sat around in the front room in Sheffield with the family who are back in England. Obviously, a lot have gone to Russia as well. And just even with the national anthems, and you see the camera pan to his face, you often think somebody's been photoshopped his head onto some other player. It's still quite surreal. This is just Harry from Osbury, Sheffield. He's just a normal, laid-back kid. The fact he scored the goal, to get integral to England's victory and to a semi-final spot first time since 1990 is just, it's not really sunk in yet.
And let's take a moment to talk about that goal. What a header, George.
Yeah, I mean, he's got it in his locker. He's 6'4", 6'5". He's a big lad, and he's a massive threat from set pieces. Obviously, he was brilliant in both boxes today, both defending and attacking. And as soon as the ball went up, I saw him track the run, and I just thought he's in. And then obviously the front room, obviously a few tears and a few hugs and stuff all around. But it was an amazing moment, and what a goal.
You've got another few games, fingers crossed, to come. How can the family cope with the tension of it, the pressure of it?
I think it was, I think like Harry and kind of the rest of the England mentality, it's just one game at a time. We look to the next one now. It's going to be either Russia or Croatia at this moment. But I mean, again, we just take it as it comes, and just hoping and praying it doesn't go to penalties.
I'm just wondering, you've talked about how you were all there in the sitting room watching it together, and it's interesting. I was talking to Paul Parker earlier, former England international, had a big role at the Italia 90, and he himself also sat in his lounge to watch it, to take it in. Would you ever consider going out into the public, into the bars, and soaking up that atmosphere?
Yeah, I mean, I have done that. I've kind of mixed it up this tournament. I've gone out with friends in the group stages, and I've watched the two knockout legs with family. I think he's good to mix it up. Sheffield is extremely proud of Harry and all the South Yorkshire lads, to be fair, and the atmosphere in Sheffield is, and across the bars in all these games have been absolutely amazing, and it's just so glad. It's so good to see the local lads do well.
Did you ever beat him as a kid when you were playing Tappy Lappy?
No, pretty much. But when we were kids, we played all sorts of stuff. Football was absolutely king. Cricket, tennis, tig and tag on the street corners, running around after each other. And Harry excelled at most stuff. He was a clever lad. He loved maths. Really clever kid. He got loads of A's and A stars at GCSEs, and but on his footballing merits, he fully deserves to be in Russia with the World Cup, and it's just a special moment and a special day to see him score his first goal.
This is your World Cup station, Russia 2018. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
It's 11 o'clock on 5 Live. I'm Charlie Charlton. That was Harry Maguire's family coming up. You've got England internationals, comedians, Justin Moorhouse is on the way, and fans and you.
The main news on 5 Live: England are through to the semi-finals of the World Cup for the third time in history.
Also at the tournament, Croatia beat hosts Russia on penalties to book their spot against England on Wednesday night.
This is BBC 5 Live.
With the BBC News on 5 Live, here's Claire Freeman.
England have reached the semi-finals of a World Cup for the first time since 1990. They beat Sweden 2-0 and will now meet Croatia in the last four on Wednesday after they knocked out the host Russia on penalties. Dele Alli headed in England's second goal.
The whole journey has been amazing, and it's been an amazing experience for myself and for the boys as well. And we've seen the way this country has been supporting us back home, and we have to try and repay them as well as we can. We'll forever be thankful for how the country have been supporting us and believing in us, and we just got to keep working hard and just keep believing in us.
Well, former England defender Rio Ferdinand says the team have earned their place in the last four.
There's a confidence that exudes from this team. The way they played, there's a know-how, they're possession-based, they keep the ball, they probe, they've got players in there that can make the difference, and they're young players gaining great experience, valuable experience here, and yes, they deserve to be enjoying this. They are enjoying it, and what an environment that must be to be in.
A Wiltshire police officer who was tested for possible exposure to a nerve agent has been given the all clear. 2 people remain critically ill after they were contaminated with Novichok. Police in Cornwall say a 14-year-old girl has died after taking an unknown substance. The teenager from Camborne collapsed last night. 2 boys have been arrested. The Prime Minister has refused to rule out preferential treatment for EU citizens coming to the UK after Brexit. Yesterday, the Cabinet agreed to create a free trade area for industrial and agricultural goods. Jeremy Corbyn isn't convinced.
We don't know exactly what all this deal means yet. It has left out services from any trade arrangement in the future. It has not got widespread support within the Conservative Party. I've got a feeling the whole thing might start to unravel in a few days. It's also very unclear whether or not they could deliver that as an agreement with Europe.
Flooding and landslides in western Japan have killed at least 50 people. More than 1.5 million people have been ordered to leave their homes. A suspect has died in police custody after officers used CS spray on him in Oldham. He was found unresponsive by the time he arrived at a police station 4 miles away. Here's our reporter Jen Smith.
The man, who was in his 30s, had been arrested on suspicion of breach of the peace after officers were called to reports of a domestic disturbance in Oldham just after 11:30 last night. The case has been referred to the Independent Office for Police Conduct. The Greater Manchester Force said it would cooperate fully with the investigation.
North Korea has called the US attitude to the latest talks in Pyongyang regrettable. It says the Secretary of State puts unilateral pressure on the country to abandon its nuclear weapons. Mike Pompeo insists progress had been made during 2 days of discussions. And 1 million people have been in central London for the annual Pride Parade. 30,000 marched in celebration of LGBT diversity. With that important sport update, here's James Burford.
Gareth Southgate says it's a tremendous honour to become only the third England manager to lead the country into a World Cup semi-final. The other two men were Sir Alf Ramsey in 1966 and Sir Bobby Robson in 1990. Attentions will start to turn towards Wednesday's semi-final against Croatia. They got there by beating hosts Russia after a penalty shootout. There are no British players left in either of the Wimbledon singles draws. It's after Kyle Edmund fell to three-time champion Novak Djokovic. But it was a good day for Jamie Murray. He won 2 first-round matches today. First, his men's doubles match with partner Bruno Suarez. And then he was victorious alongside Victoria Azarenka in the mixed doubles. Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton will start the British Grand Prix on pole just ahead of Ferrari's Sebastian Vettel. England's women thrashed New Zealand in the first one-dayer at Leeds. They won by 142 runs. Chris Froome crashed on the first stage of the Tour de France. He finished, though, 61 seconds off the lead in something of a recovery. And Wasps beat Loughborough for the second consecutive year to take the Netball Super League title thanks to a 55-51 victory.
This is BBC 5 Live on digital, smart speaker, smartphone and tablet.
Well, the weather overnight, it will stay warm with clear spells for most of us. The odd mist and fog patch, though. Sunday is set to be dry, very warm and very sunny for much of the UK.
This is BBC 5 Live, available on the BBC iPlayer radio app.
It is just after 11 o'clock. I've just been soaking up all of the stories that you've been sending in. My name's Charlie Charlton, of course. I'm with you until 1 o'clock this morning, and I've just been wondering where you've been to watch the match, to see what's happened with England, to see the hosts go out since. So Wednesday's looking like a very different situation. It potentially won't be the cauldron that it could have been if Russia had stayed in, but we'll have some fantastic football on the way on Wednesday. An estimated 30 million people watched England beat Sweden today. The National Grid said the electricity demand jumped by 1,400 megawatts at full time. Now there's a stat. Let's hear how people reacted to the match. First, you're going to hear the sound of fans at Harry Kane's first junior club in Walthamstow. Then you're going to hear from our reporter Nesta McGregor at the Wireless Festival, where organisers, well, they had no option. They had to put all the music on hold for a whopping 2 hours.
The players now break away. Here's the delivery, which is headed down and in by Maguire! And England are in front! Harry Maguire has been such a presence for England from set pieces. This time, he scored one himself.
Forget the music, it's all about the football. Harry Maguire has headed England ahead after 30 minutes. Look at the power of this. It's coming! Football's coming on! It's coming on!
We've heard that tune so many times. I walked past 2 bars in Manchester earlier and it was just pounding out of there. You know, the sun is beating down in England. So some people who couldn't even make it out to Russia, it didn't matter, did it? Here's the reaction to that goal at Fistral Beach, the normally beautiful and peaceful Fistral Beach in Cornwall. Want more? Here's a reaction in Sunderland to that goal from Dele Alli.
Lingard plays it into the back post. Dele Alli heads it in. It's 2-0 to England. They're on the way to the semi-finals. And Dele Alli makes his mark on this World Cup.
I don't know about you, but I'm still getting goosebumps with this. And then when Chris Waddle, fresh from the match, launched into 606 on 5 Live with Kelly Kate, it suddenly sunk in that England haven't made it to the semi-final since Italia 90, when, of course, he was playing.
Chris Waddle was there. Chris, how does it feel to watch another England squad reach that stage?
Kelly, it's just unbelievable. I couldn't believe our witnesses. It's quite emotional, actually.
Is that Chris Waddle having a cry? Oh, Kelly, how dare you? Poor Chris. Get in touch with us. 85058 on text, but it's great to hear your voice. Tom in Hampshire. Where were you watching the game, Tom?
Hello.
Hello. Whereabouts were you watching the game today, Tom?
Very surprising. I didn't expect to be straight on. I was watching at home with my dad and my brother.
So you chose to stay indoors. Actually, it's been surprising the number of people I've spoken to already who didn't head out to a bar. Why did you sit inside and soak it up that way?
I mean, for me, watching England is like it's a family thing. I've always watched the football with my dad, especially, and my brother. So I mean, we had to set up at home with the TV and that. So we had the sport on as well today. So beforehand, we had like bits of the Tour de France on. We had Wimbledon on. So it sort of made sense.
Your line's just breaking up, so we might come back to you in a second, Tom, because I'd love to hear more about that. Let's go to John in Brighton. John, did you stay home or away, John?
I was at home. I'm sitting in my front room right now.
What was the atmosphere when the goals started to go in?
Oh, believe me, I was jumping up and down, banging my fists in the air.
Could anybody see you, John?
No, thank God.
It's these secret celebrations that have happened right across the country. Could you believe it? I'm wondering how long you've been following England.
I've been following England since I was probably about 4 or 5, but I didn't really get into football until 88, 89 time. That was when I first went to see Arsenal. And back in 1990, of course, you didn't have half the hype you got now. We only had one Premier League game on a week, didn't we? Well, First Division game on a week. And, of course, hardly anybody knew who was playing, so you really didn't get anything compared to what you've got now. It was very, very different back then. Now, of course, it's a completely different scenario. Everybody knows, I can't name one person who doesn't know who Harry Kane is, for example. I can't, But, I mean, that's football, isn't it? And one of the things about this tournament, Charlie, I think you'd agree with me on this. It's been up and down all the way, hasn't it?
Oh, I've been exhausted in some games. My nerves have been absolutely rattled. At the same time, I've been desperate for them to go to extra time and then see how people are doing penalties. I mean, to have more penalties, I'm like a glutton for punishment. To have more penalties even today with Russia and Croatia. Did you see that or listen to that?
That's the thing, you know what I mean? You're on the other side of the argument, You're on the other side of the standard there, aren't you? You're watching, somebody else go to penalties who can meet you in the semi-finals. Like Russia, for example, you're thinking, crikey, we've been there. And you have to hold your heart up and say, Russia, I feel sorry for you. Because we've been there, we've done it.
And we came out the other side.
It's a long way up.
Yeah, and it feels great when you reach it.
It really is a long way back. And, you're not going to get that within 2 years. It's going to take a long, long time.
But in the meantime, they can continue to support the World Cup in their home for the rest of this week at least.
Yeah,
John
absolutely.
in Brighton, thank you.
I was listening to another channel not so long ago. I won't name who it was, but there's another channel because I'm a keen radio listener from around the world. And there was another channel, and I've got my amateur radio set.
Okay.
And I was listening to a guy who actually ran a pub, a Russian fella, and he said, if we go out, I'm going to be an England fan.
And it's worked. John in Brighton, thank you very much. For those of us who haven't had the chance to travel, what about those who actually made it to Russia? It's been exciting watching from the sofa, but imagine being out in Russia for the group stages in England's match against Colombia. Well, Theo Ogden did that. He came home for the quarters. He's now heading back out for the semis. YouTuber Theo, what was it like being in the stadium during the penalties?
It was horrible, to be honest. It was so up and down, especially extra time against Colombia. The first half of extra time was so hard to watch. Well, mainly because we were 1-6, so 1 England fan to every 6 Colombians. And you could probably hear the screeching every time England took a penalty. They tried to get to our heads. Luckily, in the end, England still won the game, but it was very hard and very nerve-wracking at that time.
You have been uploading loads of stuff. Which has been the most popular? Which has been the bit that people just couldn't get enough of watching over and over again?
Well, 2 things, actually. One of which is when we played Tunisia, and we won 2-1, and I recorded the moment when we scored that last-minute winner against Tunisia. I posted it on my Twitter page, and it's got like 1 million views because it was shared around, and people just love the reaction. It's completely ridiculous. Like, I can't even remember it. It was so crazy. And when I look back at the clip, it's just a special moment, and it's one of the reasons why we're in this position now in the semi-finals of the World Cup. And another video that's done really well, which isn't football in the stadium related, is actually a video where I put on an England shirt and wear the England flag through the first city that we went to called Volgograd. And I walked around the city, and we found out whether we'd get hassled or not. And the complete opposite happened. The Russian fans wanted photos with us. They wanted to talk to us. It was a really nice feeling around the city, and we haven't had any problems in Russia.
You know, that point is something that hasn't been raised for a few days because of all the drama that's been going on at the World Cup. But ahead of this, there was so much concern about safety out there in Russia and whether there'd be certain levels of negativity. Do you feel that, I mean, you're, 17 years old?
Yes.
You're out there wearing an England shirt. You're definitely in the minority.
Yeah.
And you felt great. You felt welcomed.
Yeah, well, I was with my father, and my father's worked and lived in Russia, and he told me I was a bit worried, but he told me from the start that it's going to be okay. I know what Russia's like, and yes, there were a few articles saying you've got to be careful, and you always do got to be careful when you're supporting England away from the country, and there's always that level of risk, but the tournament's been absolutely amazing. That's coming from 2 people that have been there from the start until now, and we're going to go back there because it's been so brilliant. It's been absolutely wonderful. We've stayed at Airbnbs, literally different types of places all across the spectrum, and all the hosts have been so welcoming. They've literally given us free lifts and free excursions around the city, and basically just telling us about their city and all these different monuments and stuff. And it's been really nice. Yeah.
I'm just wondering if you've been watching the matches through the prism of your phone to do it and upload it to YouTube. Do you not miss being caught up in the action? I mean, having to have your hand out and watch it on the camera.
Yes, I have been doing it for 2 years. To be honest, I just hold the camera to my face. I watch the game. I don't look at the camera. I make sure I'm recording. So I still get the memories. I still take it in. And what's great about this is England fans and my own club, Bolton fans, when I make these videos, they can look back at it whenever onto YouTube and look at that time where we won that game and the fans went wild. It will always be there, and that's the beauty of having this YouTube kind of football vlogging career. The fans can always see the videos.
Do you not just want to put your phone in your pocket, though? Do you not just want to think, to heck with it, I want to go wild. I want to let my hands go free.
Yeah, well, the support has always been so amazing, and people have always wanted to see it. That I've never actually felt that. That's honestly true. I've never actually
You've
felt
not
like
felt contained. You've not felt like the England side in the first 15 minutes of that game.
Well,
suffocated.
Actually, I went to a pub called the Railway in London, and it was buzzing. I did actually get the reaction on my phone. I had to record it. It's on my channel. It's incredible. It's funny how England's England fans back at home still enjoy it and still celebrate as much as they do in the ground, and it's an amazing experience, home and away.
Talking of home, let's go back to Tom in Hampshire. The line was I hope it's a little bit better right now, Tom.
Hiya, yeah. I think it should be. It should be good now, hopefully.
Lovely. So you were sitting there, not in a stadium, but you were surrounded by your family. And I'm just wondering, over the years, there's been endless disappointment with England's matches. How did it feel today, then, when it was just a turn up for the books?
I mean, it was almost, I don't want to sound ungrateful, it was almost a bit boring. After the Colombia game and the excitement at the end of that, I didn't feel like I was going to have a heart attack at any point today, which I suppose was really nice. But, yeah, I mean, to come out of it, to the end of the game and us just being sort of sat there like, okay, good, cool, we won. But I'm not necessarily surprised even. That was the big thing for me. It was such a massive change from just 2 years ago, watching Sig Thorson, I think it was, scoring, squeaking one past Joe Hart for Iceland. It's just such a huge change to that, and it's so welcome.
Who was your man of the match?
There's a question, isn't there? I really think Sterling. He gets a lot of flack. And maybe I'm saying Sterling because he gets so much flack. But, okay, he didn't put away his chances, but he was the key for me to sort of unlocking the defence over and over. He was making the runs in behind. Southgate had obviously seen they wouldn't want balls behind, and Sterling was making those runs. I mean, obviously, you go Pickford, Maguire, Henderson was great, Kane's always great. But it's, Trippier as well has been insane. But
I think you've only got a couple left to name.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Actually, Trevor Nelson, I don't know if you heard him before, but Trevor Nelson, national treasure, he completely agreed with you. And on the back of that, a couple of people texted in to say, actually, yeah, I agree. Sterling puts a shift in. He makes good runs.
He says 5 points something on the BBC player rater. I was like, did the people watch the game? Did they watch it? The sort of aggregated one.
Yeah, he made it. Thank you very much, Tom in Hampshire, and thank you very much to Theo Ogden as well, the YouTuber who's heading back out there on Wednesday, and we'll see how much of a challenge Croatia is. I mentioned that message there. It came from Darren in Southam. He said, so the chances, though, that Sterling's had at this level of football, you've got to be putting one or two of those away. So there's always a but in there. Somebody else said Sterling's trying too hard to get his goal. I understand why, but if he manages to relax, his goals will come. His contribution to the game's not in question. He's hard-working, he takes opponents' attention away, he keeps running. There's always a queue of people willing to knock a player's confidence. Leave him alone. Wow, Sterling, you've got your fans out in force here. Call us 08085 909 693. You continue to get in touch with us on social media as well, at BBC 5 Live, or text us on 85058. You'd be forgiven for thinking it's all about football, but a few other things have been happening today across the country, and not least, a lot of people celebrating the Pride event. Yeah, if you're in London, it was taking place, and that included about 30,000 people from 470 plus organisations, up to 1 million other people thought to have lined the streets to watch this event. It was big. Police officer Luke is part of the Met LGBT network. He was... You were a photographer today. What a day for it, Luke. The sun's shining. It must have been glorious.
Absolutely. A truly fantastic day. It was an honour to be a part of something like this. It really was.
What was the atmosphere like? Compared to the football, can you explain? What would be the difference?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not a football fan. I was born in Wales, so I'm a rugby man. The football has kind of passed me by, but the atmosphere today was just absolutely electric. The support from the crowd, particularly towards the police today, was just unbelievable. Despite what people may think of us, an event like today just goes to show how much the police are appreciated in London. And again, like I say, an incredible day to be out alongside colleagues and friends and to support them in what they do.
Yeah, we'll get into the crowd and the support you've had there, but the parade itself, who led you?
So the parade this year is organised by the Met LGBT Network, run by a PC called Lee Hawkins, who's our chair. It's the third year that the network has run the march. We've got 540 of us across the network. That's made up of police officers and staff, anyone that works for the Met Police, basically. And that could be anyone from the LGBT community or someone like myself who is straight but simply an ally of the network and there to support the rest of the staff. Also, our largest contingent ever this year, 146 of us from up and down the country took part today.
Do you think there are still people in forces up and down the country who would have wanted to join you but still felt reluctant because of their job, potentially?
I think that may be true. I'd like to think that that's not. We have so much support out there, and that's exactly why the LGBT network like ours exists, is to offer that support and encouragement to LGBT staff to promote diversity within the organisation and say to people, do you know what, it is absolutely fine to be whoever you are, whoever you want to be, and we will be here to support you through that. We would like to have everybody that wants to march with us, but unfortunately we're always limited on space at these events. But, you know, I would hope that anyone would be able to come forward in today's service and say, this is me, this is who I am.
Yeah, I'm thinking there about the job, but also there were Pride events happening elsewhere in the country. Mm-hmm. Do you think, you know, London being a cosmopolitan environment is more open to Pride, or are you starting to see that elsewhere in the country, the doors are wide open?
Well, they are, absolutely. London has always been recognised, and it's certainly part of the Met Police vision, that we are one of the global destinations for LGBT people across the world. But I don't think that's exclusive to London anymore. Brighton is a shining example of how well Pride has progressed. And events up and down the country, you know, if you look at social media and things that have been happening over the next month and the coming weeks, I don't think it's exclusive to London anymore at all.
And the crowds... Wow. I've seen some of the pictures. I don't know whether they're your photographs I've been looking at, but you had a lot of celebrations today.
We did, and do you know what? It was to go out and to see the age range of the crowd today was incredible. Children as young as 4 or 5 out with their parents, being part of it, right the way to, you know, people well into their older years. It was such a diverse crowd in all aspects, out to support not only us, but of course everyone else that chooses to march today.
Yeah, and how do you see Pride going over the future years? I mean, there's been so much attention on the LGBT plus community over this last year, really. The last couple of years, it's moved to a lot of focus on trans issues and so on.
It has indeed, but I think, you know, it doesn't just, you know, drive forward the trans issues, which has been a big theme over the last year or so, but the whole reason that LGBT organisations exist, I think we are getting more and more coverage. It is, you know, it is becoming something that everyone is used to talking about, which years ago we were not. I think we've come a long way in the last few years. We obviously have a long way to go. But, you know, it is something that is part of our world now, and it is something that people are more willing to accept. There are more support for people than there has ever been before, which is a fantastic thing. And events like this just go to show it. And the fact that the police can be part of this event is a huge thing. There are plenty of countries where we can't be part of this event. And, of course, plenty of countries that don't hold Pride altogether. So I think we're in a very privileged position here indeed.
Luke, it's great to talk to you, and I'm glad today went off without a hitch, and the images are just wonderful. And the weather helps everything at the moment. I think there's a wonderful spirit in Britain at the moment, isn't it? And it's simply because we're reaching almost 30 degrees in places.
It does, indeed. We've had a fantastic couple of months. It certainly helps out. I don't think I've ever seen Pride in the rain, actually, so we've always been very, very lucky at this time of year. But no, without a doubt, it helps. I wouldn't have wanted to be in uniform with my colleagues today. They must have been exceptionally hot in their tunics.
I was just going to suggest that, yeah.
Yes, I know what it's like to wear that in the summer, and you know, the fact that they manage the day dressed like that is a credit to them. It really is, and to have our senior management join us for the whole day as well. Assistant Commissioner Sir Craig Mackey joined us and stayed with us for the whole day, along with Director General Lynn Owens from the National Crime Agency. And to have that level of support for the staff is absolutely incredible.
Thank you very much, Luke. Luke talking there about pride in London. And just to reiterate there, 30,000 people and up to 1 million others thought to have lined the streets to watch that event in London. Other people were watching Wimbledon, of course. There's been a lot of drama going there, but generally there's been a lot of chat about football. And certain players on the pitch. We've been talking about Sterling. We've been talking about Jordan Pickford. And all of this seems very odd that we've mentioned very little of Harry Kane today. And yet Harry Kane had, I'm sure you'll agree, a great game. Yes, he wasn't on the score sheet, but he was potentially one of the most selfless strikers that we've had. This was a point that I made to Dave Bricknell, who was Harry Kane's manager at Ridgeway Rovers. He's someone who knows Harry very well. I bet he was going a little crazy this afternoon.
To be honest, I was probably the most calm I've been for the whole of the World Cup. I thought we totally controlled the game. I don't think they give us too much for it. I know Pickford made a couple of good saves, but once we scored the first goal, I felt very confident we was going to win the game. It wasn't like the game against Colombia. I just felt to myself, we've won this and we're in the semi-final of the World Cup. It's great.
There was something about the team which was exemplified by Harry Kane and Gareth Southgate, who, I mean, you will know much more about this, but looking in, appear to have had a meeting of minds. They are both calm and in control.
Yes, I thought both of them were superb. I thought Harry had a great game on the pitch. Didn't have much chance today. And Gareth Southgate's proved me wrong. I wasn't a great support when he first got appointed, but I'm so pleased he has been and he's now doing so well.
You're saying Harry didn't have that many chances, but actually he was the most selfless striker we've probably had in years, wasn't he?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Today wasn't, I mean, if you're looking at, you're thinking, oh, Harry Kane scores goals and that's it. But he doesn't. He brings a lot of other people into play. He makes selfless runs. He drops back to help defend sometimes. He drags defenders all over the place. If you look at the Maguire goal, he had 3 defenders round him, which leaves a space for Maguire to come in and head the ball in.
When you first came into contact with him, how old was he?
He was 6 or 7, it was. 6 or 7, yeah.
And even at that age, do you think there was something, a little spark, that set him aside from everybody else?
I'm not going to say I did, because that would be lying, and people that know me would know I'd be lying. He was a good player. He scored lots of goals. He was, one of the better players. There was a couple that got picked up from our team that have gone on to play for academies. He wasn't the A-grade player in the academies, and that's been borne out by other people that you spoke to from academies. But his will to succeed is probably greater than most of the other people. His determination to prove people wrong is superb, and he just seems to be getting better and better. And it couldn't happen really to a nicer bloke.
Do you think his temperament has quite a lot to do with this?
Oh yes, yeah. He doesn't look well. I haven't seen him for a couple of years, but he doesn't look as though he's going out for the limelight. He just wants to let his football do the talking. He's not out clubbing it. He's not out at 3 a.m. in the morning getting drunk. He goes home. He's from a very good family background. And he just wants to, I think, to prove that he's, if not the best striker in the world, in the top 3 best strikers in the world.
He's going to be competing for the Golden Boot against some previous winner that you had something to do with, Mr. Beckham.
No, I knew that. I wouldn't say I have any claim to David Beckham's ability at all. He used to play for the same club that I was chairman for, Ridgeway Rovers. In East London, but he's done all right for himself as well, hasn't
he? I would say so. Very different in character, though, the two of them, aren't they?
Yeah, although they've still got both have got the same belief in themselves and the same drive to prove they're the best. And again, and again, from an early age, I think they had. Beckham, although was superb, he wasn't the biggest, and he struggled, I think, at the start of it, didn't he, with a bit of size. People wasn't sure whether he was going to make it or not, so he proved a few people wrong. and he's had quite a good career.
You mentioned that you'd spoken to Harry a few years ago. Do you keep in contact with the people around him? Do you know how he's feeling ahead of this?
I spoke to, say, his father-in-law. I know his father-in-law. I spoke to his dad every now and again. But to be honest with you, you don't want to be a pesty. I mean, they must be getting so many phone calls. They must be getting well wishes from hundreds and thousands of people at the moment. But I'm just really pleased with them. They're a really nice family, and it's really pleased with them. They was always believed. They always believed that he would do well, and it's great that he's borne that out.
I don't want to jinx anything, but things are looking good. There's an awful lot of statistics which are heading in the right direction from 1966. If England get through Wednesday's match, if England win next Sunday, I've said it, it's out there. Are you going to hang a picture of Harry Kane up at home?
Well, I can't believe we've actually booked. We're in Tuscany.
No,
so I'm in Italy. And hopefully I'll be celebrating in Italy somewhere. If I'm the only lone Englishman, I'll find a TV and I'll be celebrating. They will hear my celebrations back in England anyway. But I think, and again, you said it. I believe we do have a great chance.
They were the words of Dave Bricknell, and he should know. He's got Harry Kane connections. I love all of the vague boasts. His isn't vague, by the way, but I have seen quite a few on social media of, I once played, Knocky 9 Doors with Jordan Pickford when we were about 3 and got told off for, threatening to put a brick through somebody's window. I don't believe that, for starters, but love the boasts. Keep them coming. 85058 on text, but love to hear your voice. 08085 909 693. We have people waiting to speak to, and can't wait to hear your thoughts on England. But first, it's time for a little bit of news and sport. It's just after 11:30.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is BBC 5 Live.
England fans are celebrating after the team made it through to the semi-finals of the World Cup for only the third time in their history. They beat Sweden 2-0 in Samara in Russia. More with James in the sport in a moment. A police officer has been given the all clear after being tested for possible exposure to a nerve agent in Salisbury. A couple who were contaminated with Novichok in Wiltshire last week remain critically ill. A briefing circulated among Brexiteer Conservative MPs say the Cabinet's new plan for future relations with the EU would lead to the worst of all worlds. Theresa May says the plan is good for Britain and the EU. And streets in central London were filled with thousands of people from almost 500 organisations as they celebrated the Pride in London parade. It's thought around 1 million more people lined the streets to watch. And with that very important sport update, here is James Burford.
Gareth Southgate says it's a tremendous honour to become the third England manager to lead the side into a World Cup semi-final. Sir Alf Ramsey in 1966 and Sir Bobby Robson in 1990 were the others. But Southgate, after today's victory, was quick to pass the praise on to others.
We knew it was going to be such a different game to the other night, and to come back having had extra time, penalties, the emotion of it, the energy of it, but the resilience of the team and the togetherness of the team, I think today was crucial.
Well, England's goalkeeper Jordan Pickford was, of course, among the heroes in the 2-0 win against Sweden, making 3 crucial saves. He now joins Gordon Banks and Peter Shilton as the only England keepers to play in the last 4 of a World Cup.
It's obviously good. Happy. I've had a good season, and this is what football's all about, being on the big stage, and I never put myself under any pressure or anything. I embrace the moment and nothing phases me. I just want to be my best. The pitch is always going to be the same lines, same goal height. It's just a game of football.
Croatia then are the opponents at the Luzhniki Stadium on Wednesday night. They beat hosts Russia on penalties. You can catch all of the reaction highlights and analysis from another thrilling day at the World Cup on the BBC Sport website. Well, Kyle Edmund couldn't quite keep the feel-good factor going. He was beaten in 4 sets at Wimbledon by Novak Djokovic in the third round. Djokovic, by the way, going for a 4th title at the All England club. He's finding form after what's been an injury-hit year.
I'm looking forward to a second week of the Slam. I've had plenty of success in Wimbledon courts in the last decade, and I'm very, very grateful for that. Obviously, I had some wonderful memories on both court 1 and center court, and I'm just looking forward to compete some more.
The seeds continued to fall in the women's draw. World number 1 Simona Halep was knocked out by Taiwan's Sei Su Wei. Czech 7th seed Karolina Pliskova is the only top 10 player remaining. Lewis Hamilton set an all-new time record of 6 pole positions at the British Grand Prix. He qualified fastest for the race at Silverstone. He edged ahead of title rival Sebastian Vettel by just 0.04 of a second on his final lap.
I play my cards really close to my chest most of the time, and pretty much all the time. And the pressure, unless you're in it, you just can't imagine what it's like. And I wanted it that bad. And when you want something that bad, and you know that there's people that are also hoping for it and depending on you, that pressure increases.
Commentary of the British Grand Prix in 5 Live Sport from 2 p.m. Britain's Chris Froome crashed during the opening stage of the Tour de France. He did, though, recover to finish 61 seconds behind leader Fernando Gaviria. England's women swept to a record 142-run win over New Zealand in the opening match of the one-day series. It's a win that continues an impressive run against the tourists after Heather Knight's side beat them in the final of the Tri-Series earlier this month, and there's still 2 more ODIs to come.
We've now got to be ruthless. We've obviously started well, and our confidence is high, whereas theirs might potentially not be. So for us, it's about trying to stay on top and putting in 2 really strong performances. Look at our next game, getting 2 more points in the bag in the championship. So we've got to keep doing things very well to keep beating them.
In Super League, it's 7 wins from 9 for Catalan's Dragons as they beat Wakefield 35-18. And Wasps have won another Netball Super League title, beating Loughborough Lightning in the final. That's the latest from BBC Sport.
This is 5 Live. More live Premier League football.
That's what it's like on Radio 5 Live.
Than anyone else.
Shallow's through! Shallow's scored for Liverpool! Lukaku finds the goal that he was looking for. More Premier League commentaries than anybody else.
More than any other UK broadcaster.
Right through the middle, and then a deflection, and then
So Snupton, equalising goal for Vardy. Dele Alli scores at St James's Park.
Pogba from the angle, what a delicate chip. Headed in by Sturridge. Harry Kane has done it again. What a Premier League season we've got for you here on BBC 5 Live.
The wait is almost over. This is your football station. This is 5 Live.
Across the UK.
This is BBC 5 Live.
Yes, this is 5 Live, and I'm Charlie Charlton with you until 1 o'clock. And thank you for all of your stories and all of your opinions coming in. We have comedian and fighting talk regular Justin Morehouse with you in just a second. And a stream of people who've been getting in touch to talk about where they've been watching the game and what they've taken from it. Trace is in Coventry. You actually enjoyed the game today, and I'm getting the feeling that you've been forced into football love, Trace.
I do love the big competitions. I've been a football fan, but to be fair, my husband has been the biggest fan of all time. I mean, we support Coventry City, what can I say? We've gone up.
Dedication.
We have gone up, so, exactly. I remember 1987. But today, the game, it felt like we were in control of the whole situation. You know, when we were playing Colombia, I thought, oh my goodness, which way is it going to go? But today, I felt like we controlled, the match. We looked really like a good, cohesive team. Didn't panic. Kept to our set pieces, which worked really well, and we delivered. I was just amazed. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, there are a lot of C words being used for the game. Composed, in control, yes, cohesive. Another one I'm going to throw in there. They were enjoying it.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think when you looked at the players and the way they were passing the ball to each other, they felt that they could do it. Sometimes you get passes and it's a bit of hit and miss, but they knew exactly where it was going. If you think of Jordan Pickford as well, when he's from the goal and he's passing his balls, kicking them up the field, they were hitting where he wanted them to hit. It was just magical to watch. It was really good.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard Dave Besant was on before, England international goalie and an expert in that field, and he was talking about it was the distribution of Jordan Pickford. He was just fabulous. You think the key to all of this, though, is Gareth Southgate. You're not the only one. Did you put money on that?
I did, yeah. When he was appointed, I think it was about 2 years ago now, wasn't it? I said to my husband at the time, I think he's a really good choice. And my husband was a bit, I'm not so sure. And I thought, no, he's got a thing about him. I'd say he's like a quiet man. He's not like, out there and, sort of...
But still waters run deep, Trace. Still waters run deep.
Absolutely. And I think one of the best things that he is really good at is a people manager. If you watched him at the end of the game today, and he's done it, all of them actually, he went around every single player and hugged them, spoke to them, every single one. And the way he sort of led his team to sort of appreciate the fans after the match, and they didn't have to do that. But there's a quiet dignity about him, which I really, really respect.
Trace, thank you very much. Lovely to speak to you. Getting the vibe from Coventry. But somebody who had a few other things on his plate and yet still managed to watch the football was the ever-dedicated Justin Moorhouse. How didn't you miss a single second of England's match today, Justin?
Well, I only worked tonight, so it was all right.
So this wasn't part of the build-up then, was it, for the gig?
No, well, it was. So I like everybody today. Do you know the game today when it kicks off at 3 o'clock? When you woke up this morning, it just felt very long away, didn't it?
Yeah.
It felt like a day away. So I was up early, I walked the dog, I did the shopping, and then the gig tonight. But I managed to watch the match before I went to do my gig tonight, which was at the cricket club, really, in Manchester, right near Old Trafford Football Ground.
What was the atmosphere like for your gig?
Well, there was a good bunch of people. There was about 500 people. There was an award ceremony for a travel company, and they'd been having sort of motivational speeches all day and that sort of thing. But they changed it so they could all watch the match at 3 o'clock.
Wise judgment.
Well, I think it could have undone all the good work, couldn't it? Imagine you spent thousands getting the best motivational speakers. We can do it. This year's going to be our year, and then England lose, which they could have done, which they didn't, obviously. And then it was so good. The atmosphere was so great tonight at the show. You've been to these award ceremonies sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't care when they don't win. Once they've lost the award,
they just want to sit next to the bar.
Yeah, exactly. But everyone was sort of friendly. Everyone was cheering. And during dessert, this is the only time I said to the organiser, I was standing to him, I said, why don't we put the penalties on while we're having dessert? And then these 4 massive screens, and they put the penalties on and people were just into it. It was great. It's been a wonderful World Cup, hasn't it?
Oh, I think it's been... I had to admit a bit earlier that there've been a few games where I've just been really tearing my hair out, but desperate, weirdly, like a glutton for punishment, for it to go to extra time and maybe even penalties. A little bit like, when you go to a fairground and there is a ride that you really don't want to go on, like the really fast waltzer, but you're just thinking, if I just give it a go. and there's been a couple of matches where I've just like, we'll just keep pushing it on.
I just think it's been...
Iran, for one of them.
Well, I think there's lots of reasons why we've enjoyed the World Cup, and I think a lot of it's to do with the weather here. Everyone's been in a good mood because of the weather. Clearly, England have done well. I'm talking about in England, obviously, listeners in Wales and Scotland and Northern Ireland are not feeling the same as us about it.
I know, there are actually, I think I've stumbled across 2 people from Scotland who are going to support England so far.
Let's not pretend, let's not pretend. Let's not patronise anybody. But I think it's just been a great World Cup. And this bunch of players from somebody like myself who, I have to put my hand on my heart and say, over the years I've become disillusioned with watching England. I've never been that bothered. I've always been club before country, and I have to admit that. I'm levelling here now. And I came into this tournament, like many people do, of going, it's England, they'll let us down, we'll lose on penalty, doom and gloom. But there's something about this bunch of players. There's something about... I think there are no egos in the side from what we can see.
Yeah, this is actually... Because just a thought that I had earlier, Justin, because we had a sports psychologist on, Michael Caulfield, who's like an expert and worked with Gareth Southgate at Middlesbrough and knows him very well. And he was talking about how Southgate had brought that out in the players. And then the more and more we hear about the actual players who he picked, I wonder whether the egos weren't that great to start with, you know, whether they've been a really good match together.
I think so, and as well, and if you look at previous squads, I mean, the so-called golden generation of players, you know, with Gerrard and Scholes and Lam, this is no fault to those players because they were big names in their own right and they played, you know, big games for big clubs. But trying to squeeze all them into one team must have been difficult for previous managers. Now, this set of players, you know, some of the players, they're not household names. You know, not many people outside Leicester or an avid Premier, League, fan would Premier League, would know Harry Maguire as much as we've found out about him over the last 2 or 3 games. I just think it's all come together, and I think it's just that they look like they like each other. Do you know what I mean?
They genuinely. I was just looking across tomorrow morning's papers. There are a couple of the front page of the Daily Star in particular. Justin Moorhouse, I think you will find funny. They've chosen a very awkward headline for me on the radio. We're heading to the semi-finals. Keep calm and Harry on. And it seems to be an awful lot about the brothers. The brothers together.
We came, we saw, we conquered.
I give you 10 points.
Yeah, you could fill an hour of radio with this one, Charlie. You really could.
But there just seems to be a genuine unity. I was listening to Martin Keown the other day, and he was saying that when he was out there, there was one tournament. I don't know which one he was talking about, and he was stuck in a hotel room on his own.
I heard that, and he said he was in. He just went to his room.
Yeah,
there was no communal area, and there's no sort of thing. I think as well. I think the low expectations we had. You know, I mean, the sort of, we always have that sort of, they could do it this time. Didn't really kick in until after 2 or 3 games after the Panama game. Perhaps people thought we had a chance. And I just think they just look like they've got a smile on the face. And that's, for me, that's good and it's positive and they're playing the right way and there's 1 or 2 little heroes in there. And you know, my kids are watching it now and they're interested and engaged in it and it's great.
Who are your kids most wanting to follow? Who's their hero?
I say my kids. My son is a man now. He's actually older than some of these players who are playing. But my daughter has a sort of a passing interest in football, but she knows who they all are. She's a Man United fan, so she's a big fan of Jesse Lingard and Rashford and that sort of thing.
Well, Lingard's just had a great one. What a workhorse! What a workhorse!
Yeah, he's great, and he seems to be the one amongst the gang there that's, you know, having a laugh with everyone. You see his little Instagram post with, Trent Arnold, and they're sort of, it just seems to me to be like they're all enjoying themselves. And if you know yourself, if you enjoy what you do, it doesn't feel like work, does it? And there's no expectation on them. You know, good luck to them. I think they've done brilliant. They've made us all proud.
Definitely. Justin, brilliant to talk to you, as ever. What a lovely man. Lovely to hear from you. Justin Moorhouse there. Let's head straight back to 0808 590 693. Steve in Stafford, you through to 5 Live. You've had a funny old day.
Hi, Charlie. Yes, it has been a bit of a strange one, I must admit.
Tell us about it.
Okay, so I'm a massive England fan. My dad took me to Euro 96, went to every England game with my 2 brothers, and I never missed a tournament for about the next 12, 14 years. I went to at least 1 England game, all around the world, including a week in Japan with my 2 brothers, and we all had Beckham Mohicans at the time. And
good of you to admit that.
Lots of photos of Beckham in Japan. So I was at the Denmark victory. That was amazing. And but I was also at the Argentina game, St. Etienne. That was a very memorable game for good and bad reasons. That goal from Owen and everything else. But anyway, today I've been running a course for people that are frightened of flying, and I honestly hadn't planned for us to get to the quarterfinals, and certainly not today. So
how many people were booked on this course?
We had 100 people. We had an Embraer 190 full of 98. We had 98 people on board.
Okay, so these are, just to put this in context, these are people who are already very nervous.
Yes.
And then you're going to put them through, subject them to their fears in order to get them over it at exactly the same time as there's an England game on that could potentially go to penalties.
Right. Absolutely.
You are a cruel man, Stephen Stafford.
Obviously, not many of them got to see the football. We did have a few phone calls before the course in the last few days. As soon as we got through to the quarterfinals, say, are you still running the course? Can I transfer off the course? I don't want to miss the match. And I said, look, we're going to try and do something, but we have to respect the fact that the people that weren't interested in football, we needed to look after them first and foremost. And but I did manage to juggle the timings just a little bit, so that I'd done the pilot presentations before the match started, about 10 minutes before the match started, which was extremely late for me. Normally I have a whole build-up, I have all the family, I have all the friends, or I'm there, one of the two.
You did that, you did the course.
Yeah.
England won. I'm guessing now, so you've got 100 people who can now fly. Fine, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have some wonderful success stories, people going off for weddings abroad and family abroad. And
beautiful.
Them back in. Yeah, it's been a brilliant day.
It has been a fantastic day.
A perfect day. And now I can relax, enjoy the rest of the tournament. It's my wife's birthday next Saturday, and she said to me Steve, if England gets the final, even I will start getting excited.
That's what we want to hear. The whole of England.
Invitation to my house for everyone that is listening to this that knows me. Next Sunday, we're going to be in the final, and we're going to beat France in the final.
Steve from Stafford, thank you very much. The positivity. I almost feel an anthem rousing once again. Let's go to London. Let's go to Francesca. Whereabouts were you watching the game?
I was at home with my husband and my two small boys.
So the excitement there, how old are the little ones?
Oh, they're 1 and 3, so they're very little. But the 3-year-olds, during the England-Panama match, pointed to the screen and said, "Mummy, when I'm older, I want to be on that episode," which was one of those little moments, one of those spine-tingling moments. But my husband is a huge rugby fan, and I'm half Portuguese, so I like to think football's a little bit in the blood. So I've been the person in the marriage that's always driven the football watching, and he has always said, "Oh, they play so rough, and they have no respect for the referee." But for the first time ever this afternoon, at 5-3, he ran downstairs into his, what we call his boy room, where he watches, he's got his projector and all the rest of it. And he put the television on, and I was like, oh my goodness. And he said, it's different this time. The players have respect. Gareth Southgate is clearly a man of integrity, as so many of your listeners have said. And I just couldn't quite believe what I was hearing. It's marvellous. And I think this tournament has just changed so much for the next generation, and indeed for those of us who grew up with football that was a little bit different.
So how does he feel now that he's been taken in by football a little bit, about his 3-year-old potentially becoming a future star?
Oh dear, I think I was more excited about that. I think he thought it was very funny. I think he thought that he had good comic timing. But, he doesn't actually have an England trip. He only has a Portugal kit so far. So
well, at least he's following the right team right now anyway. Francesca, great to speak to you. You see, this is the entire nation getting behind the squad. I think this is lovely. Thank you, Francesca. Lovely to speak to you. Let's go to Jason. You're through to 5 Live. Tell us where you are.
I'm in the country of Sweden.
How does that feel?
Wonderful, wonderful. I've lived in Sweden for 5 years, and many people are like, oh, who are you going to support? And it's like, well, I'm English, so England, of course. And the really weird thing is, if you don't know, Swedes are very humble. They don't take praise very well. They're very kind of relaxed and within themselves, that kind of quiet confidence. But this week they've been totally the opposite. They've been kind of down-talking England, saying how poor the team is, how it's got no talent, how they don't know how to compete against Sweden, how Sweden is so tough. And it's been a really, really strange thing to read and to listen to in the kind of Swedish media. And I just thought it was so wonderful that, Gareth Southgate and the boys got onto the pitch and they just they just controlled the match from start through to finish. It wasn't spectacular, but it was just very controlled. Unremarkable but controlled. So
in
fact, happy guy.
In fact, it was the English dignity, the English calm, the English control, which completely trounced what the Swedes are known for.
Yeah, totally. It was a complete kind of role reversal. But I think the era of Spice Boys or these kind of designer footballers, I don't think that exists now with Southgate, and I think he does epitomise what being English is about. Being humble, being proud, that quiet confidence, and I think he's a fantastic leader. So I think he's doing a wonderful, wonderful job, and for an Englishman living in Sweden, going to work on Monday is going to be super sweet.
Okay, we talked about dignity just a second ago, Jason.
I know.
And being humble.
You can gloat a little bit.
Just a little bit. I think there was another thing that we need to pick out from that game, because there was so much talk about, and we were talking to a number of Swedish people in the programme last night, and we were saying that, potentially it could be a dull game if you looked at the Sweden-Switzerland game. And the first 15-20 minutes, England were really trying to find their place. It was something that Jurgen Klinsmann had predicted would happen, and it did. But then the game opened up and you saw some lovely football, but no bad behaviour. And I would say that was one thing from both sides, from the fans to the players to the coaches to the staff. There was a respect, an element of respect on both sides, wasn't there? Even at the end, you had the players from each side hugging each other, congratulating each other, or commiserating.
It's wonderful. And at the end of the day, it is a game, and it should be played in the spirit of sportsmanship. And I think actually, if you look at the World Cup, there's been a hell of a lot of diving, a hell of a lot of borderline cheating, just rolling around, nudging, headbutting, kicking penalty spots. And I actually think England have been very dignified in every game they've played. Of course, I'm biased. And I think the only other team that's kind of come close, I think, is Japan. How they've conducted themselves throughout the tournament before they went out to Belgium. So I think that's what the World Cup is about. It's not about cheating or rolling around or egos. It's about doing the game and doing it justice for the people that watch.
Okay, Jason, I wish you well at work. Be kind.
I will. I'll be humble like Southgate. Have a good night.
Thank you very much, Jason. We've got more calls to come. The number is 08085 909 693. Justin Moorhouse mentioned a little bit earlier, Don't forget about people from Scotland and Wales, Northern Ireland. This one says, for all your nationalistic rantings, the one thing you've not mentioned is the highest FIFA ranking side England have been beaten to get to the semi-final is number 14. No side in the history of the World Cup has ever been as lucky as that. And yes, I am Welsh. Text 85058. Coming up, Paul Parker, a member of the last England team to reach a World Cup semi-final. He's coming on. We've also got Martin Kellner, Jim White, Jordan Pickford's teacher, and all the front pages as well.
This is your World Cup station, Russia 2018. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
It is midnight on 5 Live. I'm Charlie Charlton.
The main news on 5 Live, it's taken 28 years, but England are through to the semi-final of the World Cup.
Also at the tournament, Croatia will be England's opponents on Wednesday after beating Russia on penalties.
This is BBC 5 Live.
With the BBC News on 5 Live, here's Claire Freeman.
England are into the semi-finals of the World Cup, and these fans in London are convinced that football is coming home.
It's not supposed to be this easy, though. Yeah, it shouldn't be this easy, but it seems like it is. It's a bit mental because this has never happened, but we expect it now. It's just mad.
Over the moon, taking it home. It's coming home. Woo!
So excited, yeah. It's going to happen. The atmosphere is absolutely amazing.
Well, Gareth Southgate's team made it to the last four after a 2-0 win over Sweden. It's England's first appearance in the semis since Gazza's famous tears in Italia 90. Southgate called it an incredible feeling. England now face Croatia after they knocked out hosts Russia. Our sports editor is Dan Rowan.
Reaching a World Cup quarter-final amid historically low expectations already represented respectability and progress for a young squad and a manager in this, his first major tournament. But what we discovered today was that these players have loftier ambitions and the mindset and the talent to deliver when it matters most in a way not seen for a very long time.